All right. Looks like we got a stable connection today. And I got a full battery. Oh, yeah. Okay. I guess I should go to like stuff like this. Yeah. We'll start off here. Okay. I got good internet today. So we are good. I don't know why my 5G was messing up the other day. But we are back in business, and I guess we could talk some live news now. Shit. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to pop in, and then we can get this party started. I guess I should go all the way to the beginning, huh? Yeah, let's go. Let's go here. We'll go here. We'll start here. Okay. This is what we're gonna do, guys. Obviously, you guys know there's a lot going on. Now, right now, they're in the talking period of talking shit to each other. Hey, don't come any closer. Hey, don't send troops here. Hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. Everyone's doing that right now. And probably towards the end of the month in January, that's when we're going to really start seeing stuff. Well, there's already stuff going on because I think I just reported on this earlier that Ukraine said that some of the Russian-backed forces violated the ceasefire agreement. And, of course, U.S. military bases getting attacked in Syria and shit, but that ain't nothing new. Syria's a war zone. Don't go into Syria unless you are expecting to get attacked, for real. That's like going to Israel or fucking the Saudi Arabia. They always at war, bro. They're always at war. Okay, yep, right here. Invaders engage Ukrainian troops with grenade launchers and heavy machine guns. So yes, this is going down as far as the little border conflict over there. Now, is this going to escalate into Russia and Ukraine just going full blows? Not today. Not going to happen today. Russia's building up for it because they're thinking that NATO is about to attack Russia. Russia is scared that the United States and NATO is getting ready to attack them. That's why they have all those troops on the border. Now, if Ukraine keeps provoking, because Ukraine's like, oh, let us join NATO, which I've already said this so many times that I already think Ukraine joined NATO. That's why they're asking all of NATO members. They're not asking no one else but NATO members for equipment, for troops, and for support for the territorial integrity and sovereignty and all that shit. I'm like, come on, bro. We're not dumb. We're not dumb. So, and now NATO's like, we fully support Ukraine. And then the United States is like, we fully support Ukraine joining NATO. When earlier this year, they were like, no. They was like, Ukraine has some work to do and shit. And Biden was like, we never said that Ukraine could join NATO. Now it's a little different. So, yeah, this is something to keep an eye on because now the UK, and I know this article's probably buried way back. I should have put more articles to prepare for this live. But the UK is supposed to be sending up to 600 troops to Ukraine. They already said that in November, that they would send up to 600 troops to help Ukraine. As far as the United States, we have not commented on sending troops to Ukraine, and it's probably best if we didn't comment on sending troops to Ukraine because Russia would automatically get pissed off. That's sending troops to Russia's border. That's the United States. Now, the UK is a little different. Russia I don't know why. There's certain countries that Russia don't look to as a big-ass threat. But when you got the United States, or say China was against Russia, or the Chinese would have sent troops to Ukraine, then Russia would have flipped because they're superpowers. You don't know what they got. You don't know what they're putting on Ukraine's border. But China's not on Ukraine's side. That was just hypothetical. I'm just saying Russia only responds to major threats, and the United States is considered a major threat. So the United States sending troops to Ukraine's border would be really bad. And announcing that, yeah, that would be really bad. That'd be really bad. So I think the United States is going to stay silent. We might send more ships into the Black Sea because we already have a full thing there. What do you do to avoid? What do you do to avoid being drafted? Well, I mean, bro, I mean, if they're ready to draft, they're going to draft. You can hide in the fucking woods all you know, and they'll find your ass somehow. My dad tried to sign up and try to avoid them, and they came knocking at every address that he tried to switch to get his ass in there, and they eventually told him he didn't want to join. Me, on the other hand, I had fun with this. I had fun. I ain't gonna lie. I had fun. Those were good days. But I ain't here to talk about those. Go to college. Already completed. Dude, I'm older than you think. Everybody keeps thinking I'm young and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been doing this research for years. I already did my time of education. Now it's time for everybody else to get educated on what's going on around the world. That's why I do this. This is something I love to do. I love this stuff. Not you at host. Oh, okay. War is good business. So I see everyone's like, why is this starting? Where did this start? What's going on? Look, the Ukraine was a big situation, but the United States and NATO have been having a hatred for Russia for years, guys. For years. This is not a new generation thing. This ain't a new era thing. NATO was built to eventually go to war with Russia, man. They were built to deter Russia. That's why we have so many countries, and the alliance is on Russia's border, literally. Besides the United States and Canada, which kind of the U.S. is on Russia's border, we're under, I think, eastern border because of Alaska, and Canada's there. So yeah, pretty much got Russia surrounded, for real. We really got Russia surrounded. Now, as far as China, now adding China to our enemy list is making it very risky for us right now, because a lot of our allies do not want to turn against China because of economic purposes, and China's usually their main trade partner. Even Canada. We already know about the Chinese coming into Canada. We already know about the tanks and all that stuff. I can't bring too much out on here, but everybody already know about them drills that was done up there. So I don't even know if we can trust Canada, man, to be honest, if all this breaks out. Even France and Germany's like backing out. They're like, well, Russia's our main source of gas, and China's our economic partner. And I'm like, and y'all are in NATO. And none of that's going to matter when this war breaks out. So you might as well just get your ass in there. Not to put anyone else's country in there, but don't join an alliance and then back out. And that goes for the United States too. I mean, with the Taliban situation, we were there to help Afghanistan. I know we've helped them for years, and I know they say, oh, they need to defend themselves and all this crap. But they literally sent us out running and had our troops surrounded like bad. It was such an embarrassment to see that happen, you know? And I'm like, well, if Trump was in office, what would he have done in this situation? And I'm not even for Biden or Trump. But I look at leaders and their strengths and their weaknesses. And it seems like, I know Biden announced the withdrawal of Afghanistan, but it's the way that he withdrew from Afghanistan. It wasn't the right way to do it. We could have went out fighting, at least. At least showed a little strength. But no, we went out with our tail between our legs and left our equipment there. Now they're over there dancing with our equipment. Over there, yeah, look what we got. We got American F-14s, and we got these new freaking airplanes. Let's fight these airplanes. Like they're over there having a blast. While the United States is now looked at around the world as unreliable, it's starting to look weak. Countries are just not scared of us no more. Y'all see how Russia and China's acting? North Korea's threatening nuclear war again. We had a long period before we heard from North Korea. Remember, like, I think 2018, 17 was the years North Korea was just every day, oh, we're going to blow up. We're going to send missiles out, sending missiles towards Japan and shit, like just fucked up shit. And then everything calmed down. because Trump tried to make a little agreement with North Korea. And he actually got cool with them. The first time ever Kim Jong-un stepped foot on the United States. And then our president stepped foot in North Korea. So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Now we're hated by the world, man. We're hated. And it's insane. Nobody can trust us right now. And that's going to be bad because Russia's a big enemy, man. Russia and China is a big enemy. We're going to need as many allies as possible. The United States cannot win this battle alone. And honestly, this battle is unwinnable if we got allies or not, to be honest. Whether we got allies or not, it's not going to be good, bro. Now, another thing I want to talk about is our government. Can we trust our government? Can we trust that? And I brought this up in my last live. If we were invaded, just say it like that. And I know a lot of people in the army are going to be like, well, we can't get invaded. There's a big sea. There's lots and lots of land of sea and the ocean. And they would have to travel over there and meet up. I mean, yeah, that's if we were to defend ourselves. The fact that I've noticed something today that China, when they were trying to build that base in Africa, I'm like, okay, so their base happens to be in the Atlantic. And we have all them ports on our west right now, and we have no idea what's on them. So could we have a false flag from the east and west? Could there be a two-front invasion planned by our own people in command? Makes you wonder, because it's been rumored that our country's been sold out for a while, and China's supposed to be the next superpower, the next one to lead the world, supposedly. I don't know. I'm not our government. I'm not in the army right now or anything. But it seems fishy that all of this is happening now. Why didn't this happen last year? Why wasn't there ports on our west coast last year? Why wasn't China and Russia threatening us with nuclear war last year? It just seems like it's fucked up. If you believe I'm clueless, then I respect your opinion, bro. I ain't on here to share hate. I'm in here to share my thoughts and views on the situation that's going on right now, because this is what I report on every day, and which I have reported on for years. They want you to get the shot. Oh yeah, everyone. They want everyone to get that. They want everyone. It's worldwide right now. Like, all governments are pushing this so bad. I'm like, dude, what in the hell? This deaf guy just keeps sending deaf. You should inform yourself. I am informed, bro. I read every day on this stuff. I read all this stuff. I've been listening to you for a while, bro. Thank you. War is coming. Yes, I believe it. I'm reading all you guys' stuff at the same time that I'm talking. So, I can't see the text behind you. They're just talking about the ceasefire violation. Ukraine and the Russian started shooting at the Ukrainian-backed soldiers on the border. They're saying that the Russian-backed forces have been violating the ceasefire. But we all know that Ukraine has been also violating the ceasefire. They shot Turkey's weapon they used Turkey's drone against Russian-backed forces. War is definitely in the air right now. Yeah, and remember, we were all warned of a dark winter. We were all warned. This winter's going to be harsh. This winter's going to be horrible, but we're going to be strong. We're going to make it out of this. And I'm like, hold on. What y'all about to bring down on us, bro? I thought it was going to be like lockdowns again and stuff. That's why I thought we were heading. I'm like, oh, man, we're probably going to be in lockdowns. There's probably going to be another COVID variant going around. Show much love to my guy 6ix9ine. My God, 6ix9ine. I'm sorry, bro. That name caught me off guard. Not, and that's two ways, bro. That's two ways. I'm like, I'm not talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine. I'm not talking about the other 6ix9ine. Okay. Anyways, damn, you got me. You got me, man. You got me, man. I'm like, damn. I don't know where this is gonna go this winter, and now I see it. I see it. First, they started by trying to take our guns. That didn't work. So now, then they started trying to lock us down and take away our rights. That didn't work. And in fact, worldwide, people are fighting back against their rights. They want their rights. People want the right to be able to go anywhere they want without having to be observed. Now, I know people have noticed our country has been very surveillanced up. We are watched no matter where we go or what we do. Every traffic light, there's a camera. Every fucking block, there's a camera. Somewhere, there's always a camera. Every place you walk in, Walmart, Target, fucking any store, there's a camera. You are watched everywhere. Everywhere. And I don't call that freedom. I don't call that freedom at all. Honestly. Another thing. If war was to break out and we were hit by EMP, what happens after that? Can anyone tell me what happens after we get EMP'd? After the blackout comes, because that's what everyone's talking about, the big blackout, the dark winter. Another thing. Now, the only ones that's going to have power and stuff is our army. You guys know that, right? They're going to be the only ones that have like EMP shields and shit. The police don't have that. No, none of your police stations have that. None of your paramedics or doctors, hospitals, any of that. None of that is going to exist. Everything's going to go out of business at that point. So the power goes out. The only person that we can rely on is our military. Because our military is going to be the only ones that most likely have power, that most likely have movable vehicles, that most likely is going to be able to fly planes and all types of shit. But it's not going to be the way that you're thinking that we're going to be relying on the military. It's going to be a war zone. And I guarantee it. I don't want to put any misinformation on here. But I just want to let people know. Your lights go out, you better go to your closest store. And you better hope you got good friends and neighbors that you can really trust, because that's going to be the worst. That's going to be the worst. And I stress that in every line. I'm like, dude, some people are really blinded. They're really in a fantasy land that nothing can ever happen in our country. Nothing. But a lot of them people are wrong, man. The United States is not invincible. We're not God. We're not. I know a lot of people like to look up like, oh, we have high tech and all this stuff, but we're not invincible. The United States have been defeated and can be defeated. Can be defeated. Another thing, we can also be blindsided. It's happened before. And why do I put the question, is our government in on this? Look back to 2001. You know what happened in 2001, and that should have never happened. With the technologies that we had back then, we should have been able to detect a plane from miles away, going off course or anything. So, what now? I seen someone say, we're undefeated. Well, I guess you didn't see that ass whooping we got in Afghanistan and, well, Venezuela, another one that a lot of people don't like to bring up. Venezuela, boy. Or the Korean. The Korean War was kind of a win-win situation. That was kind of a Chinese win and a United States win, because we formed North and South Korea out of that war. But the United States didn't get the full Korea like they wanted to. China made sure of that. Yeah, we're not undefeated, guys, and we're not invincible. And if we had crazy ass weapons that could have helped us win those wars, why didn't we use them? Why lose to a low, what do they call that? A low grade country, a country that's not even that strong. Because we should have, I mean, honestly, if we're really that strong, we should have blew through Afghanistan like it was nothing. I know how war works. There's tactical, there's strategies, you have to look at everything. But we didn't win. So no strategy worked. None of our special forces did what they were supposed to do. And the only thing that we have, I see a question. Because dropping nukes is not the solution. Oh, no. I don't want them to drop nukes. I don't want them to drop nukes on the Taliban. Come on, man. That'd fuck up our planet. That's not what I mean. We have capabilities we have space weapons that literally can shoot missiles with the force of a nuke without the radiation. So we don't need to shoot nukes at countries to win a war. That's what I'm saying. We have all these capabilities, so why didn't we win? We have a lot of stuff that people don't know about. We have radioactive shit that could fry a person from miles away just on a truck. Just on a truck, bro. So imagine, like, just the technologies the United States have. No offense. If you want to save us in a war, can I recruit you for the army? Man, I'm fighting for my family. If we go to a big war like that, I'm fighting for my family, my survival, my family, and my friends. That's my little group, because we already have a bunker ready. We already found this old military base, and it has a nice bunker. It has a fucking nuclear silo in there, and I'm like, oh shit. I was not expecting that, but I think it's shut down because it's been abandoned for a long ass time. But yeah, we're ready. We're ready on my end. I'm ready to fight. I've been ready to fight. Let us stay in touch, please. You're talking too much. That quote is kind of scary. Is it happening now? We're not at war now, guys. Right now, they're on the border building up. They're building up big time. Damn, you got the whole damn bunker. Yeah, man. It was some friends that talked to me, and they were like, there's this old military base, we should go check it out. And I went out to check it out with them. And there's like a little shaft. There's a little thing, like a little door on the ground. We opened up the little door, started climbing down. And it's been abandoned for years. We've been wanting to do this for a long ass time. We just were scared because I'm like, what if this base is still active? What if these motherfuckers start coming out shooting at us? Anyways, I started going down there, and I looked to the side, and there's this big fucking, I can't even explain. It was like a big silo. I think they call them silos. But it was a big nuke. It was a big nuke, and I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, yeah, this was back in the Cold War. This was going to be used against Russia. And I'm like, damn, bro. And he was like, they shut it down because they had an agreement to disable nukes or some shit like that. So I think that was one of the nukes that was disabled. They had a couple on there. It was about 4 or 5 that we saw. But, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Up here in Ohio, we have a lot of military movements up here in Ohio because it's really, what do they call that? It's really cloudy up here, so they can make moves without being seen. Here comes World War III. Yeah, like I said, man, everybody that's new to this, stock up, man. The military's being warned that something big is coming. I showed you guys the article about us supposed to be blindsided by an attack, and that's why they're loading up submarines and shit, and everything's just out of whack. Now, I don't know if this is going to really happen in December, because they're throwing dates out there. They're saying early February, they're saying late January, they're saying December. Ukraine's mostly saying December. The United States said January or February. So maybe it's going to start off in Ukraine, And maybe by January, February, NATO and all of them are going to get involved. We'll have to wait and see what happens, honestly. But this is very, very dangerous and very, very important. That's why I'm stressing this to everybody. This is not something you want to ignore. This is a whole change of history and events. We've never been at war with Russia before, like on a physical level, war with Russia. We kind of been in a war with China before, but, you know, it ended kind of peacefully. So, all right, I think we're good now. Okay. All right, sorry about that. So every time someone calls my phone, this whole thing starts to fuck up. I need to turn my do not disturb on. Is everything clear, or am I still breaking up, guys? Good thing I don't live in fear, Divine. Damn, nobody's answering. You for real? You're good, perfect, clear. Okay, good. All right, thank you, guys. It says unstable connection, that's why I asked. All right, do you think every empire will fall in time? Yeah. Is this legit? Yes, this is legit. I get all my sources from a military website, so all my stuff is legit. This is not fake news. This is hour-to-hour news. That's why I post so much on a daily basis. And the days that I don't post a lot, I'm usually working because I work long shifts. Like yesterday, I worked and I still sent y'all a couple videos yesterday while I was at work. But I worked from like what was it? 1 to 6? Yeah, it was like 1 to 6. And then when I got off, I started, wait, can you repeat what's happening? I just came in. So the invaders are Russian-backed forces. They came at Ukraine's troops with grenade launchers and heavy machine guns. They've been back and forth, but since tensions with Russia and Ukraine are going high, the little proxy battle that they're having is starting to heat up. Now, what's bad about this is Russian forces are now in Crimea and Donbass. They're both there on the border with Ukraine. So they're ready. Now, when NATO says get out of Ukraine, they're talking about those areas. That's why they're saying Russia's provoking Ukraine, because they recognize Donbass and Crimea as Ukraine's already. They don't recognize it as Russia's. So we are in a situation where the United States is pretty much on the front line of all this. Every NATO member is actually the United States to get involved. Every country, like even Australia, Japan, the people that's not in NATO are asking the United States to help them. We're getting stressed out so bad. And that's why I'm like, there's got to be a draft coming, man. We already don't have that many people in our army. In fact, they said people are getting less influence to join the army these days. So I'm like, the only way they're going to be able to challenge Russia and China is if we have a ground war. If we have a draft. And I think that's why they're pushing that defense bill so bad. I think that's a big reason they're pushing that. I was the last year of the draft. Damn. Well, I'm a felon, so I'm out. I don't... When a country gets desperate, they'll send anybody. Go ask Iran what they do. What they do with their prisoners when it's wartime. Or I can't use North Korea because North Korea would use their whole fucking country to fucking attack somebody. North Korea is crazy, bro. They're crazy, man. Who do you think will win? I mean... Okay, if we're talking a nuclear war, man, nobody wins. But if I had to give a winner to anybody in a nuclear war, I'm going to give the winner to the country that survived it. And that's probably going to be Antarctica, to be honest, because they're already in a cold climax. Their temperatures ain't going to drop that much lower because they already don't get much shit. So I don't think many countries are going to win. And I was going to say Africa was survivable. But now I'm noticing that Russia and China and the United States are building bases there. So that most likely makes some of the countries in Africa attackable. Then I just say some of the countries in Africa. Come on, bro. Come on, man. We all know Africa's a continent. It's not a country. Just like Europe is a continent, not a country. But a lot of people use the EU or Europe as an example so they don't have to say every fucking country's name that's in Europe. Come on, man. Africa is a continent. Yeah. What age is the draft? Now, if we have a world war, man, there's not going to be no age restrictions. Do y'all remember World War II? They had kids fighting in World War II. They had children literally out there fighting in World War II. So I'm not going to put any age limit or what they say is an age limit in this draft. Because from what I hear from the women, the one that they're trying to pass is supposed to be 18 to 25. Now, if we actually start getting drafted by our military, like they're literally needing people to get in, then I think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be a higher age. As long as you're physically able to fight, they're probably going to put you out there. Or you're just going to be here. You're just going to be here with your family. Or only men. What was 18 maturity level, now 22, 23. I'm 34. Now, that don't mean I'm not trying to scare people into thinking they're going to be drafted either. But I'm just putting it out there that we're getting close to a huge war. This is huge. So most likely we will have a draft. And that's if they decide to fight conventionally. Because I don't know why everyone's just fucking sending nukes everywhere. Like the United States sending them in Germany, now talking about putting them in Greece. Russia's saying that they're actually trying to sneak them in Ukraine. Russia already got some in Venezuela. So people don't know about the buildup. I've been following this whole year. I saw when Iran sent the 2 ships on our Atlantic coast down to Venezuela to give them weapons. And went to Cuba. I remember earlier this year where China, Iran, and Russia, all 3 countries was in Cuba, helping them out. Right on our border, right there. So if Cuba is going to give, the land to anybody or any help to anybody, it's going to be Russia, China, and Iran. Again. A fucking again. How would a war affect basic training? Y'all gonna be, oh man. Y'all gonna be out there most likely fighting, bro. That's what all this training is these days right now. What they're training for right now is the war with Russia. And I got hella articles to prove it. Y'all can go back in my videos. I showed that they were training in Hawaii for fighting a war with China and Russia. They're training in Taiwan right now. U.S. is training Taiwanese for a battle with China. Training the Japanese. India and the United States is up there in Alaska right now training for a war with China. Like, come on. It's everywhere. They're not hiding it. And now we got this huge drill. That's what I want to talk to. That's what I want to talk about. We have this huge drill over in Greece with 1,000 tanks, 120 military helicopters, and hella troops. So I'm like, and they just lifted the strict restriction of 25,000 troops in Germany. So now Germany can hold even more U.S. troops than before. You guys cannot tell me that they're not preparing for something, that they're not worried that something's about to break off in Europe. They are worried, man. They are worried. Let me see if I still have the article. I just posted that one yesterday. I like to try to prove. And then, yeah, they're talking about limited war with China and shit. Like, there's not going to be no limited war. It's either you're at war or you're not. It's not like, oh, we're going to fight and then get a ceasefire. Who's going to call for a ceasefire between the Chinese and the United States? There's no one above us. So who's going to be in and say, oh, you guys need to calm it down? Nobody, because we fuck them up. Let's be honest. Canada denied this. They didn't want this. But the United States and the UK, you know they're going to send the troops. You know they are. Like, I just want people to see how fucking serious this is. Biden warns Russia against Ukraine's red lines. Like, we can keep going. We can keep fucking going. Taiwan's foreign minister warns China's expansionism could lead to World War III. World War III, another world war. Come on, let's keep going. Because NATO states interested in Turkish drones, says foreign minister. A lot of people, and I said this earlier today, that a lot of people are getting more interested in Turkey's drones, Turkey's equipment, military. I'm wondering, I'm like, damn, they must got some good ass drones then. Let's go. U.S. military reportedly acted against ransomware groups. Now, remember Biden said earlier this year that the United States could use military action in case of cyber attacks. And he was really referring that to Russia. They have already started to use military action on cyber attacks. They just have not used it against Russia or China yet. He's not panicking. He's speaking the truth. Listen up. I'm not panicking, guys. In fact, I need some moderators in here. If anyone's interested, my true followers, if you're interested in becoming moderators, let me know. I've been trying to get some moderators for weeks now, but I just don't know who to trust. I don't want to mod somebody and they start blocking everybody in my video. Shit. Let me be a moderator. I'll mod. Damn it. There's so many to choose from, man. I'll mod, bro. Don't worry. I promise. I'll block the pervs. Our country is behind. I'll mod for many. All right. I'm about to start going through this and picking some moderators as I'm talking about this news. Because I need some mods. I really need mods bad. I can help. You're speaking sense. No mods, bro. No, I need them because these lives go. I'll mod. Wait, hold on. I have moderators, but they do not know how to block unless I tell them. Yeah, I know. I have a couple. They know how to block though. They know how to block. I'll mod. Been asking for weeks. Hold on. Are we friends? Are you following me? Let me check you out real quick. All right. Yeah, you're good. I've been seeing your face a lot. You never talk. All right. Jay Wolf, this is about population control. I can block. I'm a nurse. I'll do it. Oh, nurse mom. Yeah, I know you. I should give you a follow too. And I'll add you. All right. Who else on here? These lives get lit, so I really need people that have a little free time to mod for my lives, because I'm tired of my lives just going down. Lance Jerry, are you following me? Thanks for the gifts. I'm looking for your name. Lance Jerry. Thank you. You're welcome. Can I mod? I'm trying to. All right, I'm gonna pick a few more. This is crazy, bro. Are you following? Yeah, you are following me. And you got a lot of followers. So I think you are a legit account. All right. I'll do. Oh, yeah, there you are. I was looking for you, man. I got you. There you go. All right. I'll do some more later before I end this video. Keep up the good info, man. Of course. I can mod. I know you, man, but sometimes you're on my side and sometimes you're not. Unknown 4122. Like, I be having a lot of haters in my stuff, and I'm not saying you're one of them, but it seems like, I don't know. You're up and down, man. I don't know. You are following me, though. I'll give you a follow. I'll think about that one. All right. Anyways, let's continue on. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find my I appreciate what you're doing, keeping people woke. Of course, be picky, brother, with the mods. Yeah, I know. They got control over my lives and everything. So I'm gonna make sure pick the right mods. You guys see any fishy stuff? Get them out of here. We don't do any kind of bias or messed up talk on here. All right, so let's keep going. I got distracted for a sec. All right, laser weapons. Now, this is something a lot of people have been talking about on my videos. They're like, oh, the United States have laser weapons. And I know this, man. I know this. The United States has some crazy weaponry. I mean, they're trying to put these on planes. They're trying to put these on the warships. The United States is about to be something else, bro. And yes, Russia and China have these. They have been around for a long time. But what I'm telling people is the United States is advanced way more than we think. And I'm saying this now. Because a lot of people think that I down talk the United States, and they're like, oh, you don't know their capabilities. You think they're weak, and you think that they'll lose every war. And I'm like, no, man. No. I'm not saying that they're weak. I know we're a strong-ass army. I mean, we're not feared for nothing. But what I'm saying is, in the event of a war with Russia and China, man, it's self-destruction. It's suicide. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying nobody wins. I'm not saying not just the United States. I'm not saying they'll just tear us apart. But I'm saying it's not going to be easy either. It's suicide. And we need a really, really strong leader to lead a strong country. Like, you can't just put this role on anybody. You need somebody that really knows how to stand up and be strong. And honestly, I feel like we're sleepwalking into a trap. That we're not going to find our way out of. Not this time. Because y'all see how our media is right now. They're like, oh, Biden has to make a decision against China. Oh, Biden has to make a decision against Russia. It's like they're forcing his hand so bad. They're like, oh, he looked weak against Afghanistan, so now he has to look strong against the two superpowers. Like, come on, man. Y'all really pushing it that bad? Man. Man, bro. Oh, yeah, this was another article. Let's see. Ukraine defense minister urges military support from Canada, U.S., Britain, even if it's outside of NATO. So Ukraine is just really asking for them to be there. Ukraine is confident. They're talking all this shit. They said they could destroy Russia earlier this year. Now we're in a situation where they're on the front lines, and U.S. and NATO like, hey, go ahead. We're giving you the weapons. You go ahead and do what you need to do. Now they're like, well, you guys going to come in with us? In Japan too. Don't even get me started on Japan, bro. Japan was talking all that shit to China, like, we'll send ships over there, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then China like, we're going to nuke you to oblivion. And Japan comes back like, oh, United States, yeah, they're going to do it with us because they got the defense. I'm like, come on, bro. Come on. Oh, Germany too. Germany tried to say that they were going to fight Russia. And then Russia said, we'll take you back to the Soviet days. And then Germany lost it, bro. Germany was like, NATO, can we use nuclear weapons against Russia? I'm like, come on, man. Y'all was talking all that shit. Back it up. Back it up, bro. Back it up. Don't ask for your whole damn crew because you want to talk mess. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. I had I had to get that laugh out. So another thing I wanted to talk about is the diplomats. We've been expelling hella diplomats, guys, and that's bad because these are our negotiators. These are the people that keeps us out of wars and stuff. Besides our own presidents talking and stuff, but you have to have diplomats to negotiate this stuff. I can't tell you how many we've lost in like 3 years now between the United States and Russia. It's so bad. And Russia already cut ties with NATO, so that means they cut ties with us too. And they already said they don't trust NATO. They don't trust them building up on their borders. And that's why miscalculation and escalation of war is very high right now. If y'all didn't know, Europe is in DEFCON 3 right now. They're in DEFCON 3. That's not good. That's not good. That means one more up, and they're about to be on a war footing. You got to pay attention to that shit. The United States just went up from a 5 to a 4, and I think we're about to go up again. If stuff escalates in Ukraine, I think we're going to go up to a 3. So keep an eye on that. I'll post it on here too. I'll post more on there. I do have a DEFCON video back. I think I made one like 4 days ago or 5 days ago. So you have to search. I make so many fucking videos that I can't even keep up with myself sometimes. My phone, man, y'all should see my fucking memory. My memory crashed, my apps crashed because I have so many articles and videos on this fucking phone. I do all this for you guys though, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't have any friends or anything. I stick to myself. I work my butt off and I talk to you guys on a daily basis. This is my stuff. But let's continue on. U.S. officials is hyping Taiwan's tensions for Hogami. Now, they said this. China, look, didn't y'all just threaten like to invade Taiwan? Didn't your president, Xi Jinping or Xi Jinping, fucking say that he was going to make the move on Taiwan? Like, you can't just say that we're hyping this up because on that end, we know that you said that you were going to invade Taiwan soon. And y'all fly airplanes into Taiwan's air identification zone like every fucking day. So how can that even be trusted? No, can't be trusted. Let's continue on. Okay, so let's go on world events really quick. Damn, I can't talk about the other volcano that I want to talk about. I wish I could use a nickname or something for it. But it's been getting worse, and that's all I'm going to say on that. It's been getting worse, and I urge you to keep an eye on that. The most lava flow in a long time, the most earthquakes. It just broke some records for the most earthquakes of any volcano in the last, 500 years? Insane. Libama. That's a good name. Libama. Oh, can I say Obama? Can we use secret name Obama? Can we use that? No, we're not talking about the president. We're talking about the Atlantic Ocean. Obama. I'm sorry. That's perfect. Man. I wish I could find you in here, bro. I'll give you some credit. I'll give you some love, man. Thanks, Obama. You guys got me dead, bro. I'm supposed to be talking on this live and y'all making jokes in the comment section. That's why I love going live with you guys, man. Y'all are awesome, man. Y'all make my day, for real. Much love to all you. La Obama. All right, let's keep going. Okay, all right, so I already said this, that the big reason we're getting ready for war is for what happened with COVID. With COVID, every country is going through a disaster phase right now. All markets are pretty much shutting down. Economies are crashing and fucking everybody's standing up against their governments. Now, whether you believe this was a thing or not, I'm going to say this. We are on the verge of a world war because the world is in tragedy right now. Nobody is in no kind of peace right now. Unless you're fucking New Zealand. New Zealand seems like they're cool right now. They're chilling. Greenland, too. South America, haven't really heard much from them. Africa is turning into a war continent right now because everyone's trying to split Africa in different sections. So, yeah, I don't know, man. The world's not... And everyone's picking their sides right now. As y'all can see what's happening in Europe. Everyone's picking their sides. Either with the United States, NATO, and the EU, or you're with Russia, China, and the Middle East. It's gonna get really difficult, man. New Zealand. Why would you spell it like that? Oh my God, man. You guys are cracking me up right now. I'm so dead. Now, I got to remind you guys that the U.S. has vowed full support for... Oh, man, I always fuck this up because it's not Kyiv. It's not Kyiv. Kyiv. Got it. See? Got it. Kyiv. So, the government of Kyiv, which is Ukraine, against Moscow. So, the United States does have full support for Ukraine in the event against a war with Russia. Man, we're not ready for this, bro. We're not ready for this. Let me see your war face, soldier. I had to look at myself, bro. I wish I didn't see that. It probably looked horrible, bro. Oh, man, we are not ready. Man, bro. I'm scared because half our Americans right now, half our Americans are not ready, bro. Everyone's joking about this. And I'm like, man, come on, man. We cannot make a joke out of this, man. They're like, oh, if we get invaded, we're just going to laugh our ass. I'm like, no, bro. No. What has our country turned into from patriotism to the strong, the bold, the proud to a laughing stock? We're just dancers and comedies and everything these days, man. Wait. This isn't a religious page, y'all. Stop asking. What is they asking my religion? I mean, I can talk about my religion. It's not really that. Oh man, what should I say? I believe in a higher power, but I have different views on what we are taught through church and stuff. That's all I would say. I believe that there's a God, but I believe that like history was a little different. It's been rewritten so many freaking times, so many times. So that's all I'll say on that. But I don't bash no one's religion. I study all religions and shit. So, anyways, I'll just keep it there. Why isn't this on the roof? Someone invading the United States. No, we're not getting invaded yet. Not yet. It's building up to something happening here. And I don't think we're going to have an invasion. I think we're going to literally get probably showered with missiles and shit. And I just hope they settle this down. I hope it don't turn to that. Honestly, I really do. Well, so I don't know if y'all knew, but Germany had made this plan if Russia invaded Ukraine, they were going to try to get involved in it. But they automatically backed out of this, like pretty much right away, because Ukraine asked for their troops. They asked for France's troops. They asked for Canada's troops. They asked for the U.S. troops and the UK's troops. And the only ones that responded was the U.S. and UK, and France, Germany, and Canada are all backing out. So U.S., UK, stand strong. That's all I can say. Stand strong. All right, Pentagon chief says U.S. ready to support Taiwan in the face of China. So y'all just saw the last one. We're supporting Ukraine. We have full support for Ukraine. Now we have full support for Taiwan. Now it's out there. Now what is China going to do? The United States is so aggressive right now, guys, because China and Russia are not really fully prepared for a war right now. They're still trying to rush out the hypersonic missiles that they just made. And Russia's big hypersonic missile, the Satan II, is probably the one that's going to do the most damage to this country, and that one is already ready. Now, dude, you're a chump. I'm going to block you myself. Service unavailable. Okay, whatever. I blocked dude myself. Forget that. Can you make a video on Iran? What do you want to know about Iran? Oh yeah, while everybody's here, what other videos do y'all want me to do? Because some days it'd be hard to find the Russian and US news because they try to hide it so much. They try to hide it so bad. So I try to, I use my military website to look up the hour to hour what's going on, whether there's shooting, whether there's stuff going on, what side is saying. But I could talk about other stuff too in the midst of this building up because there's major censorship going around. No. What the hell does that even mean? I think U.S. will miscalculate it and Russia gets the upper hand. Yeah, dude, anything can happen, bro. Anything can happen. Like Russia said, the first thing they're going to go after is our satellites because that's our communication. And like I told everybody, they'll go after our radars on our east and west coast, our radar communication systems that literally shows what positions our enemies are at sea and stuff. They're going to attack that. And then they'll hit our cable lines, our communication cable lines underwater. And once that goes, man, there ain't nothing. We ain't gonna have nothing. And then the big boom, the EMP. That's the one everyone's talking about. We don't want to ever see that. After the EMP attack, Russia can literally sit back. I know the U.S. ain't gonna let them sit back and just relax, but if we get EMP, Russia can literally sit back and watch us kill ourselves because that's what exactly is going to happen. We're going to all turn against each other. We're going to be starving. We're going to be desperate. The survival is going to have to use their skills, and the weak is going to die. And that's just the gist of it. I'm not even spreading misinformation. I'm just giving you the true, blunt reality of what could come. But at the same time, yeah, we can EMP their countries. I know China could be in blackout, Russia be in blackout too. It'd just be chaos all around the world. Do we really want that? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Russia says action by the U. Okay, yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I was on the website tracking airplanes or air flights, and I happened to run across this airplane. So I was tracking it. And it literally went on Russia. It went on Russia's coast. It did a big U-turn on Russia's coast and started going back towards the Black Sea. And then there was this Israeli plane that was literally coming towards it. And they avoided each other at the last minute. It was almost a catastrophe. It would have been, man, I want to know Iran's situation is in World War III. Oh, I could talk about that now. Iran and Israel is going to go at blows. And Israel is going to, oh, man. I don't know what Israel's move is going to be. If they keep it conventional, they might be in some trouble. Because Iran got the 5 rings around Israel. If y'all know about the 5 countries that surround Israel. Bro. Iran already activated one of them earlier this year. Now, if Israel fully declared war on Iran, they would activate all of them. They will activate all these countries. And these countries will, man, it'll be prophecy. It'll be prophecy, for real. It'll be a prophecy. Thank you for sending the heart. Show these guys some love, man. Show these guys some love. Thank you for showing me love, man. Japan to shoulder more costs for hosting U.S. military forces. Yeah, this is a major problem. So Japan is literally thank you. I love the gifts. Japan is literally trying to get damn, I'm trying to get this out. The US troops in Japan for in case of Chinese aggressiveness. So Japan, the Japanese right now are willing to pay more for US troops to be stationed there. Now, what's the problem with this? The problem is, want me to? Oh, bro, you want to come live with me? Send me a live request, Prep Zone Rise. I wanted to talk to you. I think a lot of my followers would like to hear some of your stuff too. If you're able to go live. Guess. Yes, you can join. Send an invitation. Send an invitation to go live. I'll let you join. A lot of people would love to see that. Hubby, you gotta turn on guests. Turn on guests. Where is it? Administration settings, comment, moderators. Shoot. Add hosts. Go live with another. Oh, there we go. I'm about to look up your name. Let me see if I can find you in here. Allow co-host invites. Receive advice for a suggested host. Okay. All right, try now. I think it's turned on now. One guest request. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Yo.
Whoa, there we go.
What's good, everybody?
What's going on, man?
Not a lot. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good to finally get on here with you, man.
Yes, about time. We finally got this. We got this going.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I saw you were live. I'm like, now's the time.
Yes. I saw you told me to go live the other day. I was banned for like a week. And then
dude,
I'm
I
like,
ain't surprised, man. Dude. The stuff you talk about, no wonder.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, I'm scared to talk about as much as you because I know I had a channel that was had 100,000 subscribers, and I talked about some of this stuff a while back, and a lot of those videos got dinged, and I think that contributed to it. I think I had a target on me.
Oh man, the problem when we get big on here, we get a lot of mods. We get a lot of people that's not even real accounts that just come just to report you and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, come on, man.
I think so they have these big groups in both of these countries that we talk about that do the cyber attacks and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. It ain't no big deal for them to hop on an app like this too and just mass report. If nothing else, if it's not even like direct, which I think it's direct on the China side, I think that the CCP has like direct control and oversight over this in a way.
Yep.
But I think that they could just do it that way too.
That's correct. I believe that too. I've actually gotten some weird threats. Like it was like one that said, "We know who you are, and I'm going to continue to shut you down until we get you." And I lost all my accounts. Like every time I get these weird messages, I'm like, "What the hell?" And now, when I would lose my account, this is how I knew it was hackers. They would text me on either Twitter or Instagram and be like, "Hey, I know how to get your account back." And I'm like, "How the fuck did you know my account was gone?"
Right. They're trying to get in deeper.
Man. But I ran into your video the other day, man, and I saw your view on the situation with Russia and the NATO, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not the only one that talked about it. I had to immediately share your video because I'm like, this is what I talk about. This is what I've been warning people of for a long time.
Yeah, dude. I get a lot of my news on this stuff from you because hardly anybody talks about it.
No, ever, bro. Ever.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find, we had a group of TikTokers that was doing it. We were supposed to make this group, but all of them got shut down, including me. I had to rebuild from scratch again, and I'm just getting back to the level where I was.
Right. I think one thing that is, I guess, helpful with like the suppression side of things is, for me, it's honestly even just telling the truth. I don't think we should defend these countries. I mean, ethically, I do. I think that we should, but I think for our own safety, we shouldn't. I think that the big scale, it would cause more suffering in the world if we had a big world war. And I think that that's the message that they want to get out to Russia and China. I think that they want to be left alone to invade these countries and have those. And I think it aligns a little bit with their message in a way. So I think that that's kind of like I guess, a protection maybe against some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. I agree with you. I honestly don't think we should be going to Ukraine's aid in such a big war. Now, if this was Russia invading the Baltic states, now I
Yeah.
would be like, okay, that's a NATO member. Okay, we have to kind of step into that. But Ukraine is not a NATO member, and we really don't have strong enough ties to be going to a World War III situation for them. And they're dragging us in it because they know that NATO is kind of in a bad situation right now. We just got our butts handed to us in Afghanistan, and the world
Yeah.
is looking down on the U.S. and NATO altogether. So right now is the time to try to provoke us into looking strong again. And what better way to do it than to try to drag us in a war with China or Russia? Because those are the
I think it's
number
going to
two
end
and
up
number
making us look
three.
weak again. Like if we don't defend those places, that just speaks to how weak we are, which
Yep.
I still think it's the best thing, but I think that's part of the play too.
Exactly. And that's why I push it so hard. I'm like, people don't understand the situation that we're in. Yes, we've been talking crap to each other for years. Yes, it's been building up for years. But eventually something is supposed to happen. They've always warned of a great power war between Russia and the U.S. or China and the U.S. But now we got them two working together, so that makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that if you look at how Russia's deploying their troops along the border compared to previous times, it's different. The way they're moving around, they're doing it at night. They're doing it more like strategically, like they're actually gearing, like they're not just showing the world that they could. They're like getting ready to do it, I think.
Yes, they're doing it. They're doing it this time. I think NATO didn't cross the red lines for the final time this time. I think Russia's making such a drastic move because Ukraine wants to join NATO super bad. They're begging NATO, come on, let us in. And now NATO is kind of letting their arms out to Ukraine. So I think Russia's making the move now. If they invade Ukraine, it would be so Ukraine doesn't join NATO. They would take over Ukraine before they even have the chance to get any kind of equipment, hypersonic missiles, or anything in that country on their doorstep. That would be a bad position for Russia. I don't think people understand that either. That would be really bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be all around bad. I don't see how we get out of this, to be honest.
There's no way out.
No. And like
Even
they're talking real big. Like, I mean, you got the videos out, like our side is talking real big, like we're going to do something. They can't not do that, right? Like that's the only correct thing to do is to kind of be like, hey, like try to scare them into not doing it. I don't think it's going to work, but I really hope that it is showboating and not just them being arrogant and just doing it anyways. Although with Taiwan, I think there's a treaty that technically requires us to. Yeah. I know there's not with Ukraine, but I think there is with Taiwan, and I don't know if we're going to honor that or not. I did watch like a Australian 60 Minutes a while back, and they were talking about this subject, and they don't believe, in Australia at least, that we would. And that's actually a big reason why they bought those nuclear submarines from us. If you remember that kind of fiasco with France, and just a little quick shot at France, like they got all butthurt about it, but like, dude, your submarines were not as good as ours. You know what? Like, they got so mad. It's like you were offering them a shittier submarine. It wasn't nuclear. Like nuclear submarines go forever. It's like, make a better sub, bro, if you're mad.
Now, I think we kind of have to get involved in that because of Japan. Now, maybe Australia and Taiwan we can let go, but if Japan has already said that they will protect Taiwan and defend them, and that the United States and them have a defense pact with each other, if something happens to one or the other, that one or the other has to get involved.
That's where it gets complicated.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
it gets really complicated. So it's really on what Japan do. If Japan just goes and storms China, I'm pretty sure the United States is probably
But
by the step.
keep in mind, whatever Japan says, they have next to no military because until I think very recently we haven't allowed them to. So without us, they don't have the capability. It would be like I can't say that word on TikTok, but it's going to be like death to the country, like self-imposed death to the country.
Could be crazy.
It's not smart. But then another thing in that region to keep in mind is that North Korea has a 1,000,000-man army available to China in that situation as well. And people forget about that. And I mean, yeah, North Korea has its problems, like with their military being outdated and stuff. But with China's support, that gets ramped up real quick.
People don't even know that supposedly, and I think that China has something to do with this. But North Korea has hypersonic missiles now. Have hypersonic nukes. Yeah, they joined the race this year. They joined between the
we
United
don't even
States,
got
China.
those working right.
Right. I'm like, hold up. I'm like, I knew North Korea was building up on nukes, but when the hell did they get hypersonic missiles?
Right.
They're the fourth country to build one. Supposedly, I think it was actually given to them by China.
It has to be. Like they can barely they can barely even get to like California at best with what they got on their own.
With what they got, yeah. So it had to have been China.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, China's the reason North Korea exists.
Yeah. Real big reason. I was just talking about that a little bit earlier in my life. How because I was talking about the wars that we won and the wars that we lost. And I was like, well, the Korean War was kind of 50-50 because we really wanted the whole Korea, but China kind of stopped that real quick.
Yeah. I'd say I call it a loss. I say we haven't actually won since 1945. Because every time it's either something like that or just a complete loss. We're like, we got some of what we wanted. We didn't get everything. And yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all, man. It's not.
Some people are talking about India here in the comments. If you want to talk about that.
Over here, they're talking about Africa too. Okay. They're asking me what's going on with Africa. For the people that's in here, with Africa, they are trying to split the continent of Africa pretty much. They're trying to split influence. Right now, China's in the lead. They're already talking about building a base on Western Africa on the Atlantic. And the United States is concerned about that. And Russia and China are also trying to be big influences in Southern Africa, I believe. And that's the United States is trying to, but yeah, they're kind of like slapping our hand away.
I will say Africa and South America are probably the two safest continents for this war as far as like the actual fighting. They're going to be like trading partners. So they might honestly even benefit because the whole rest of the world is going to be so unstable and they'll kind of stay similar to the same in a way, except for like the trade cutoff coming in maybe. But those are probably some of the better places. Not South Africa, though. Like the country of South Africa, that's probably screwed too. Just with their line crews. Yeah. But India is a really interesting topic. I don't know how much you've looked into that. But obviously India is our ally, like 100% India is our ally. But they're not going to give us much help. They're going to be surrounded on all sides. So they got Pakistan, who already wants to go to war with them. The only thing holding them back is us, really. And then obviously Russia can move in through there. Afghanistan's right next to Pakistan. And obviously they have all of our equipment and stuff there still. And the Taliban's running the show. And if they're going to get hit from that side, and then the Himalayas help them on the China side, but they border directly with China. So I'm sure China has a lot of stuff in the Himalayas, like military stuff we don't even know about. They can send air raids. And of course they're surrounded by the ocean. Like India's going to be attacked from all sides if they side with us. They might honestly flip.
India's kind of screwed, but I brought this topic up and I want your thoughts on this. So India is also very, very close with Russia. They buy almost everything with Russia. And I'm like, how is this going to work with India? Is India going to defend the United States with China? But then that would kind of cross roads with Russia and China because they're in their little joint thing now. I'm like, and then Russia trades India weapons. So if India used those weapons on China, is that kind of like Russia against, like it's a messed up little
I could see them flipping sides. I think if I was like in charge of India, honestly, it'd probably be the best thing for them. Which where they're at, we're not going to be able to give them much support with everything we got going on. They're going to be on their own. Same thing with Turkey.
Oh yeah, Turkey, man. Oh,
can't trust Turkey. That guy's a dictator, anyways. Yeah.
You can't you can't play both sides, Turkey, man. They're trying so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Yeah.
NATO's about to get rid of Turkey. They're already taking all their shit out of there and everything. I think NATO just made up their mind, like, yeah, you guys are with Russia and China. Yeah, you might as well just exclude from
Exactly.
this.
Yeah. But they're really like they're getting real bad, like authoritarian and stuff too, like internally, and they're just not culturally aligned either with the rest of NATO, I don't think.
No. What's your view on France and Germany? They were talking all this crap earlier this year about fighting Russia, and now that it's coming down to it, they're kind of backing out of it. I think NATO said that all members are on board besides Canada, France, and Germany, but everyone else is willing to defend Ukraine for Russia.
So Germany is fucked. They, first of all, just that they're so close, so much closer than some of the other places too, but they get almost 50% of their natural gas from Russia.
From Russia, yeah.
But yeah, France gets a lot less, but Germany is one of the highest ones, right? So it's going to be, we're looking at February or sooner, which is what our national security people say, for the Russia thing, then they're going to freeze. I mean, that's going to happen anyways. Like the pipeline's going to get shut off. So like they might as well be on our side, but they're going to have big problems.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But like the people, this is another topic we can get into when we're talking about Europe. Like the people, like the people of Europe, not even like the government, they're fucking pissed right now at a million different reasons. But like the vaccine mandate and stuff, and we don't need to get into like the politics of that, but like the impact of that debate and like the riots and stuff, and the fact that Russia, especially, they will get in there and they're going to ramp that stuff up. They're already doing that. I think they're doing that here, to be honest, like making people more mad at each other and the government. And they're going to instigate. So then the people are turning against the government in the middle of a war, and that's going to play into their hands. And I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Honestly, yeah, especially in our country. Our country's already divided. And I think they're waiting for the right little drop for everything to just go out of control. I don't know which one it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to shoot another person or if they're going to freaking throw a mandate out there that nobody agrees with. But something's going to make us turn against each other, or lights out situation. I know a lot of people talk about that. What happens when the lights go out? Yeah, that's when survival instincts kick in. So that might be their way of trying to start it here.
Yeah, but I've talked about it before, but the lights out. So we're talking about an EMP attack, basically, when you say that. So the concern or the things that people in denial about it say is that would be the same thing as mutually assured destruction, that we would respond with a nuclear attack if somebody did that to us. And sure, but that's so easily avoidable. All China needs to do is frame somebody else. You need a cargo ship in the Gulf of Mexico with some Scud missiles, which are not nuclear. They're very easily acquired by almost any military country, with the EMP device put on it, which aren't that hard to make. And then use two of them to take out the whole U.S. Okay. And they would just have to make it look like Iran, North Korea, or somebody did it. And that country might turn into glass, but China wouldn't. And also China would come to our aid after that. After framing somebody else, they'd be the only ones who could even help us at all with electronics and like electricity getting rebuilt. So then we owe them. And it's just like, if I were them, and I always try to do it, like put myself in their shoes, think about what their motivations are, and like, what would I do? What's the smartest thing to do? That's how I would kick things off. Frame somebody else, and then do that. And then I could see that happening. I really could.
I could.
And that's one of the big things I prep for.
And I feel like, I mean, that's a really good strategy, but I feel like the United States would still frame one of the two. Just because that's what we usually do. Like with cyber attacks and everything that goes on in our country, we always blame China and Russia, always. So if something was, and now they're talking about a surprise nuclear attack on the United States. I've seen that everywhere on Fox News. I've seen it on CNN. I'm like, oh, now they're bringing it out. I've been talking about this whole year. Now they're talking about a nuclear surprise attack. And that's what's making me think lights out again. I'm like, okay, so maybe they're...
You ever seen the show Jericho? That's how that was set up. Yeah, just like that. And then again, they could blame anybody. They could blame like a domestic group. Like, everybody's so mad, right? They could blame that. And then who are we going to nuke, right? I don't know. I mean, for me, like with that whole thing, like whatever they do, like if they hit us with an EMP, in my view, ending the whole world with a response is not like, it's the worst case. It's worse than just not doing anything for us, because then
Right.
we get hit with actual nukes, you know. And um I if I was in charge, I mean, obviously you want to get revenge and all that, but like the damage is already done. Maybe you do something, but like it's ending the world seems like a really bad option no matter what happens to us.
Yeah. But I feel like they don't have them bunkers just down there for nothing, man.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
that's the big thing, man. Because like
yeah,
they're fine no matter what happens. The people that run the world are fine, so they're able to be more risky and be more stupid and be more greedy and selfish and stuff. And we can't afford that because we don't all got that stuff.
once that president makes that announcement of a declaration of war, or we're in nuclear war, whatever he says, he's gonna hit straight to that doomsday plane. That's EMP proof. That's gonna take him to the safest part of the fucking world, and we're gonna be sitting here burning sitting ducks.
And just in the mind of justice, I hope that our enemies got that shit figured out and they got a plan to take care of that. You know what I mean? Like they got a workaround. I just for justice sake, for them fucking us, let's hope they get fucked too.
Yeah, I hope they get fucked too. I hope whoever pushes the button gets the fucking karma they deserve.
Exactly. Hey, let's talk about like if we do go to war with China, like our supply chain. You got thoughts on that?
Okay. Well, let's see, man. If we go to war with China, so what are you referring to? Like supplies
all
from
of our
other
stuff
countries?
comes from China. Everything we need to run the country comes from, like, obviously you see what the shortages and shit we got now, right? And that's just because that's so slow. But if it 100% gets cut off and we can't manufacture anything, we can't get anything.
Oh man,
we don't
China's
have
the biggest one.
Yeah, and we don't have the stuff to then go and set up the ability to make stuff here. You know, like we would need to get stuff from China to build manufacturing here to like be secure against that. So like there's no way we come back from that, because it's like going back in time, and like we would have to start from scratch, and like we just don't have the components to make the factories to make the stuff. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I see what you're trying to say. It'll be hard for us to manufacture or to even create our own shit to keep competing with China. Because at
like
that point, we
100%
already get
of our
our
stuff
shit from them.
Even stuff made in America. And I used to work for Fastenal, if you know who they're industrial suppliers. So like every factory, every kind of everything, including farms. Even stuff that's made in America, they're going to use a Chinese something in that factory. So they might use a Chinese drill bit to make this piece of metal that's made in America, quote unquote, right? So they can't make that made in America stuff without some stuff from China coming in. So like that's like, if we go to war and we lose that, no matter how the war goes, that's over. You know, like there's nothing we can do.
And that's the thing a lot of countries are bringing up. It's not even just us, because a lot of our allies get their stuff from China as well. Get all their, China's the biggest fucking trader out there. Like
they're the richest country in the world now too. People, that just happened recently. People don't know.
Yeah, that just happened. I seen that. So if China and the United States go to war, I think this is why the experts keep saying that it will be an economic collapse, a worldwide collapse. And it's not even just the destruction we would bring to the world. It's just that we would be so focused on each other that we probably would not help anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. And like, so people also say that it won't happen because like China depends on us for us buying all that stuff. But I just throw that right in the garbage, because you know who China is. They've gotten a lot more capitalist, but I think that was just like a temporary thing for them to get powerful and get all that stuff coming in. And they have the authoritarianism. They have the ability to go more communist again and like not need our money, but we need their stuff. So I think that they could really crack down. They have the factories. They have a lot of raw materials. They have everything where they can make their own stuff, and they don't need our money in that situation. They don't need money at all. In the way they're set up, they just have allowed that for now to take power and take money from us, in my opinion. And people forget that.
Facts. Now, my question to you, what do you think about the UFOs going around right now? What do you think those are?
I don't believe they're Russia or China. believe they're probably something like what they appear to be. You know what I mean? Like there probably are some either aliens or interdimensional something, or something we don't understand in that regard. Something seems to be intelligent, whatever it is, but I don't think just that sheer like level of technology is so far beyond, like the way they move and the speed and stuff and the stealth, like that's nothing that a human civilization has gotten even close to. I don't care like how secret, you know, people like Area 51 program stuff might be on their own. That's not
Right.
that's not humans doing that, in my opinion.
I've seen like personally, I was there was a time I was walking with my friends, and we literally seen this, like it was this shape, but it was steel. It was so still, like it would look like you just push pause on the TV. That's how fucking still it was. And it was just lights blinking all around it. We're just like, what is that thing? And we started to walk close to it. And then I'm like, man, I don't want to get too close to that thing. So we started going the other way. Didn't even think to put it on our phones or take a freaking video of it or anything. We started going to McDonald's, and then we turned back around to see if the thing's still there. And I'm like ready to put this on my phone and stuff, and it's gone. It like zapped. I'm like, holy shit! I've never seen nothing like that in my life. And then
Yeah, dude.
there was one where I literally saw these 5 stars. It was like way, way up in the sky. They were just going exactly the same speed, exactly the same line, right through the sky. And I'm like, that's no asteroid. There's no asteroids that's going to just stay in line like that. I don't see any kind of spaceships or.
Now, how long ago was that one?
That one was like the end of last year. Like it was in the winter.
Okay. That may have been Starlink. Like look up pictures of Starlink satellites and see if it looks like it. Because when those come out, and people always think they're UFOs, and maybe the Starlink's kind of like a front, I don't know. But if it is Starlink, that's what it supposedly is. And it looks like a line of dots, like a straight line. And so like when they launch them up, they deploy like 100 at a time, or I don't know, a lot of them at a time, these little tiny satellites, and they're all in the same rocket. And then it just looks like a line of lights for a little bit until they like spread out.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, actually. Yeah, it could have definitely been that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've seen some videos of the Starlinks. Like I've seen like 20 of them just going like, yeah, that's exactly probably what that was.
Yeah. Hey, here's a similar thing that came out, I think, yesterday. So China, and you might be interested in this, you might not, but China, they have this rover on the dark side of the moon. I think it's the first
Oh
one
yeah,
ever. And they
they
found
saw a
this like
house.
rectangle shape. It looks like a fucking building or base or something to me. There's people are trying to say it's like a boulder, but like when is a boulder look like a rectangle? And like the moon, like it don't look like it doesn't look natural to me. Like it's far away and they're gonna try to get closer, but like if something was on the moon on the dark side, like that would make a lot of sense to me. And like, you know what? Like maybe it's something we got that's secret and China's fucking with us, like letting people know, like just the shots fired at us. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised. A lot of money goes missing.
I reported on that. I think either yesterday or the day before. I showed a video. I know what you're talking about. That rover. It was
Yeah.
like a little small freaking house in the distance, or it looked like a house in the distance.
Yeah. Like some kind of
But
square rectangle thing.
yeah, it was like a square rectangular thing. Man, I've heard stories that we've had bases on the moon. I'm not sure how true or false. I'm not up there,
Yeah.
so I can't really, verify that stuff. But
Yeah.
I've heard that we got bases up there. I've also heard that we stick our nose in stuff that we can't even get ourselves out of. Like I don't know if you heard. Did you hear the story of the Russian boy that was supposedly a reincarnated alien from Mars or whatever?
Maybe it kind of rings a bell. But I feel like I've
He
heard
like
like multiple kind of similar stories too, so it might be getting mixed up.
He was really young. Ever since he was young, he would always draw the stars, and he would draw the stars that he's seen from Mars. He was like 8 years old, and he said that he literally told his parents and everybody that there was aliens and stuff on Mars, and that they already discovered immortality. They don't age past 35, and he said they would usually take little trips to Earth. He would describe how Earth looked. He would describe the stars that he saw, like everything was point blank. So scientists, lie detector tests, everybody's tried to debunk this boy's story, and all of them came to conclusion that he's not lying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they asked him, they're like, so why haven't we ran into the aliens? And he was like, well, they're underground. They've they destroyed the planet. There was a big war or whatever on the planet, and they all moved underground. He's like, there you'll see a couple of the steps, and now this year they did say they found some steps on Mars, and this story's been out for a while, and they said they found the stairs that looks like it's to an underground base, and I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah,
that's not good.
yeah. I think that stuff's possible. I think that it's so hard to ever know. And I feel like even
Yeah, it
if
is.
somebody found out, they probably wouldn't tell us about it because it's just too mind blowing. I guess people would probably freak out. But who knows? Like they could even be like, like manipulating things here if there is
Oh
somebody
yeah.
there. They could have been the reason we're here. If they got started first, and like, who knows? If they got the technology or whatever for that. But I don't know, man. Like all this like alien stuff, like I definitely like believe in it, but I also like don't know what I don't know too. Like
Right.
I accept like my ignorance, and like all like not and nobody knows more than anybody else about it. It's all just guesswork at this point,
Of course.
Yeah. But I do lean towards like there's a lot of like stuff that we don't have any idea going on.
Looks like a lot of my followers know about you. They're like, oh yeah, Prep Zone Rise is the GOAT. Like, oh, okay.
Well, thank you. I will say that like with the aliens and like outer space, like like I mean, obviously, like I talk about prepping. I have a second channel. It's called Future Rise, and it talks about stuff like that. So like that's
Okay.
another like special interest of mine. Like literally for like the last 15 years, every single night I fall asleep like listening to videos and podcasts about that kind of stuff. And like, you know what the Fermi paradox is? And you went, woo, silent on me for a second. What'd you say?
But just okay.
You there?
Whew, there we go. We're back in business.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
I don't know if you heard me. Do you know what the Fermi paradox is?
No, I have not heard of that. What's that one?
So the Fermi paradox is just basically the question, like, so Earth's been here for 4 billion years or whatever. The universe has been here for a lot longer than that. How come when we look out at the stars, we don't see any evidence of anything that we wouldn't think of as natural? We don't see like big alien structures like building like, so a Dyson sphere is a thing that they talk about. And basically it's the idea of like surrounding a whole star with solar panels and collecting all the energy of that star, because as a civilization gets bigger, they need more and more energy,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. But we look out at the universe and we don't see any evidence of anything unnatural, right? And that's what the Fermi paradox. That's the question, like why are we the only ones that we can see after looking? So that's a big topic that I look at, and I think that there's a lot of. I think we're just like too arrogant. I think that we think we know too much about what we're looking at with that.
Yeah.
So I think that the universe is really big. Like there's more stars in just our own galaxy than every grain of sand on every beach in the world, in our own galaxy alone, right?
I saw there was a video that was just showing how small you really are. Then it shows you, then it shows Earth, and then it shows the moon from Earth, and then it shows fucking Pluto, how far Pluto is from you. And then like it just kept going further and further. I'm like, man, we are really like a speck of sand. Like
not even, dude. Not even. We're like an electron on an atom in sand. Like we're so small. But I will say with that though, like kind of going like that's true, but then going the other way with it, I think we're also special. All right. So like every atom in your body ultimately was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. Because the universe started with hydrogen and helium. Everything else was forged in the side of a star. And then it exploded, spread out, billions of years went by, right? So you are stardust. Moreover, we are the universe observing itself. We got consciousness, we got sentience, and we're observing what the universe is. And as far as we know, we're the only things that can do that. And to me, that makes us very special. It makes us very big, and it makes us worth something in the universe, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so you can look at it both ways. I think you should. I think you should be humble in that you're small, but also be awestruck by what you are too.
I've always been the type of person that thought a little outside, like out there, but I don't think I know more than the next person. That's why I research or I look up the things to see, what others have experienced, what people have went through with this. Like I remember seeing a couple years ago where they were talking about this little speck of fucking spaceship was sucking energy from the sun, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Or it looked like it was
I
sucking
remember
energy
that.
from
It was like a dark circle.
yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
dark circle, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me think. I'm like, okay, what do our governments or higher ups know that we honestly don't know? What do they really hide from us? And do they start troubles with other, planets or worlds or beings? Do they work with them?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many questions that I still have for the world.
Yeah. With taking energy from the star, just for people's knowledge, that's called stellar lifting.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like mining a star. Um, but yeah, I think that if anything, they're probably like got some kind of deal with them, just because
Yeah.
like they'd be so much more powerful than us. Like we're kind of probably following their rules, or they just like I don't think they had the power to like fuck around and find out with them in a way. Like I think that they're either don't know nothing or like they're just stupid about it, or they're like under their command. Um, do you know about what a Moa is? The
Yes.
interstellar asteroid.
Yes.
I've always found that fascinating. A lot of like Harvard researchers have come out and said like this is not an asteroid. Like this doesn't line up with anything. It's a weird shape. We think it's
Mm-hmm.
honestly probably mostly flat. It's a weird, like it's sped up on its way out of our solar system, but it didn't
On its
have
way
any like
up.
gas shooting off. Like that's not physically possible unless there's some kind of technology at play. The way that it worked, and it wasn't like like it could be like some like a solar sail. People think it might be a part, like a junk part of something, like space junk of an alien. But I'm this is my conspiracy theory, okay? This
Go
is
ahead.
this is just a theory. So think about when I want to say it was like 2017, 2018 time, right? And then there was more since then. There was a one or two more after that. And it flew relatively close to Earth. What if, and again, it's a conspiracy, what if that was like a mothership and stuff came off of it and came here? And then
Ooh.
what if I don't want to, there's certain words I don't want to say with this because when you get conspiracies on this, you get in trouble. But the um, the events of the big event of the last 2 years, I wonder, and you know what I'm talking about. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if that may be part of not any humans like plan, but maybe it was like genetically designed by that group to do something to us. You know what I mean?
Oh, you talking about? So this could. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, that this could not be a human problem that's going on right now, but this could have been something that was brought from something completely uh, dropped off, pretty much
Mm-hmm.
completely from another universe or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That's a good
Exactly.
theory, man, because that's been
Um,
something that humans been worried about, like the fact that uh, what diseases could be brought in from outer space.
mm-hmm.
What
But
I
I'm
don't know
saying
if
this
you
was
saw.
intentional. Like this is like a part of like an alien plan. If in this,
Yeah,
and again, this is just a theory. It's not necessarily like I believe. I don't know. I just think that it could be true.
that bro, I would not doubt that or leave that one out, because I mean anything's possible, and that's something that I have not heard anybody say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard, the U.S. might have dropped a biological. I've heard China, but I've never heard that it could have literally been brought from some other
Yeah.
being. I'll just say that.
If if you or the viewers want to like learn more about that stuff, there's a really great book series that kind of gets it's fiction. It's called The Three Body Problem. Um, and so it's on Audible too, so you can listen to it, you can read it, whatever. It's actually written by a Chinese author, but it's perfect English. Like she just happens to be originally from China,
Yeah.
but it's a 3-part series, and basically these aliens are from Alpha Centauri in this scenario, and their planet's dying, and they want to invade the world and the Earth, and so they do stuff like that. Like they send stuff, and they send basically like Terminator things here too, and they have like a viral component, and like it's a really really interesting book. Or I listened to it. I recommend listening to it on Audible. But it's called The Three Body Problem. If you guys want to check that out, and kind of it's your brain,
Hmm.
it's your brain with those kind of thoughts with the aliens and stuff.
Yeah. Did you see that what do they call those? Xenobots or whatever, that they're able to reproduce and make other robots now? Like
I heard about them. I didn't read up all the way, but I heard about them.
that's bringing like a whole new uh a whole new vision of technology. Because I'm like, whoa. So they're starting off small. Of course, they're like, yeah, Xenobots or Xenobots.
Mm-hmm.
I see them now. They're putting a comment. But
Yeah.
they started off with these small things. At first, they were just seeing if they could make it walk just by nerves alone, just make it walk. And it started walking and doing that. And now they're seeing if they can make it reproduce babies. And now it's doing that. It grabs on the other cells and it reproduces, and the cells that it let out does exactly the same thing as it does: swim, walk, do everything. So I'm like, what is their direction with this? How
Mm-hmm.
deep, how far are they about to get with this?
That's so dangerous.
That
Like,
is.
think about what life does. Like, it's the same thing as life. Think about what it just grows and replicates and takes over. And like,
Yep.
and just what we do, that's what every kind of life bacteria does. And if you make that and you make it really good at doing that, that's actually so. Like, we talked about the Fermi paradox, and so like one of like there's all these like hundreds of theories about why that may be the case, why we're not seeing anything, and a lot of it is like the doomsday theory that like all advanced civilizations eventually just write themselves out with some kind of
Yeah.
technology or something, and that could honestly be it. They call it the great goop theory, and like everything just gets turned into goop because these things replicate, and it's just the whole planet gets turned into those things, you know, because they just eat everything they can. And that's a theory that they think might be true. And so if we're making that stuff,
Man, we
same
might be
thing with like
dealing with
artificial intelligence and like the singularity.
a real life Venom right there. That'd be insane,
Basically,
bro.
yeah, dude. I hope not, and I think that might be further out before we'd have to super worry about it. But we're starting.
Yeah, but it's already starting, and the fact they started with this cloud for all robots and all technologies that's connected to this cloud to share each other's knowledge and everything. I'm like, dude, that's so dangerous. And y'all got army, y'all about to have exobots out there. I mean, what do they call those? Exoskeleton robots. It's like human robots that's the fight. I
Yeah, they
forgot
got
the
so
name of
Boston
it.
Dynamics makes a lot of that stuff for us. Like, you might have seen Spot, the robot dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then so there's the robots, and then there are like the exoskeletons, like that go on like a human soldier, and both of those are pretty scary. I think the robots are scarier for
Yeah.
sure because there's no human in them. But like, yeah, going back to like the artificial intelligence, that's just as big a threat as anything.
Yeah.
So
That.
the idea with that, and just like maybe you know, but maybe not everybody knows watching. So the singularity is what they call that, which basically means a human programmer makes an artificial intelligence, and he tells that artificial intelligence, and he has to make it as smart as him. Okay, that's the
Mm-hmm.
achievement that they get, and then he tells them, "Hey, make one smarter than you." Okay, and then they do that, and then that one tells that one, "Make one smarter than you," and because they are smarter, they're able to do that, and it just runaway effect, like instantly, like it gets like the as smart as something could ever possibly be, it gets to very, very quickly. And at that point, what does it do? Right? What does it do to us? And does
Right.
it take over the world? Does it just kill everybody? Like, what does it do? And like, that's another, again, like doomsday scenario that could happen. Like, in reality, like we get to that point technology wise, that could happen.
Man,
Yeah.
that would be bad, bro. If
For
and
sure.
if we get something that could even think on its own. So like, say we make I heard they're trying to make an AI god or whatever that has control over all artificials. Bro, that would be so bad. Because what if our own artificial intelligence start hacking into our systems,
Mm-hmm.
our fucking nuclear weapons, or whatever.
Yeah.
What's stopping it from just
Yeah. It's just like the
boom?
Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly the same as the Terminator. The Terminator, maybe not the time travel and stuff, but like the singularity part, that could happen. That 100% could happen. And it could happen sooner than you think. Because once we get past that first step, we make one just smart enough, as smart as a human, that's when it can go.
Man, yep, that's
And we're getting
when it's
close.
over. We're getting really close. I seen they built
Yeah.
the two robots in Russia. The Sophia, the one that could talk
Mm-hmm.
and do everything on her whole conversations and shit. I'm like, damn. And then they had to. I heard they had to shut their Facebook down because they were sending secret codes to each other and shit. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm. They
oh,
were.
yep, that's how it starts.
That's what I think. If we did that, we need to make like another one that's like the observer that like makes sure it doesn't fuck around. Like the one that can like shut it off and like something like that, where like maybe it's not like as dangerous in and of itself, and its whole job is just to monitor this one. And maybe one like that's like a teacher to like like to teach us about what it's doing too. So there might be ways to limit that and like limit like what it's connected to and stuff. But like if it gets smart enough, it could just trick us and just manipulate us into doing what it
Oh yeah,
wants.
big time. Big time.
And we're pretty dumb. Like if you really think about it as people, we're kind of dumb. Like, if you look at the things people do. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was able to do something like that.
Especially, I mean, they're already talking about making robot cops and stuff. And I was reading in this thing. I'm like, they're like, if you throw a can at it, or if the robot feels threatened, it has the right to shoot you. And I'm like no,
Who
bro. What
cares?
the?
Who cares if a
Right,
robot feels threatened? Let it go.
right. You're not
Like,
harming
come
the
on,
robot.
dude. Like, the only way all this stuff even works at all is because a human has the ability to disobey a bad order. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A robot doesn't have that. And if we lose that, we lose everything, in my mind.
Yep.
Another thing, like we were talking about, like the elites and their bunkers and stuff, like being able to make bad decisions and we get the consequences, not them. If they have the ability to have robots do everything for them and they don't need us to do anything for them, think about that. Think about, you know what I mean?
I mean, technically, the robots are already taking over. I mean, Amazon. Do I have to say even more? They're building their whole foundation off of robots.
They're
see a lot
there.
of Taco Bell's having people-less drive-throughs now, where they just talk to you and you don't even have to see them no more. You don't have to see no people or anything.
And I think that those things are, in a way, really good. I think that if you really project it out and like take the elite and their motivations out of it and just think like if all of humanity, like all of our needs were met by robots and we could just do like our passions and whatever we want. And like, I feel like that's a better life. That's a better life, more worth living. The problem with it is that it takes away power from like, I mean, like there's capitalism, like that's how the whole world works. And if people can't have money, like, there's no need for money if everything's made by robots. Like nobody's working, you know, there's no need for that. And that means that equates to no power for these wealthy people now. And will they let that happen, or will they twist that into something that keeps them in power? I think more likely they twist that.
Yeah, for sure. They're already doing that. Like I said, robots are taking everybody's jobs. You don't even gotta scan people's food no more. You gotta scan your own food at a fucking self scan.
Dude, I love doing that though. Like at Sam's Club.
Me too.
As he goes in the cart, walk out.
I mean, it is easier, man, but it's destroying the work ethic, man. Nobody wants to work or nobody wants to do anything because pretty much everything's taking over their jobs, what they love to do.
Yeah, and I think that like, I mean, you're not saying that, but like similar, some people are like, they'll always be like, the whole problem is nobody wants to work anymore, and like, I think that's kind of like demonizing people in a way, because like especially like the problems we're having right now where like everybody, like the great resignation, everybody quitting their jobs, and like it's not because they're lazy, it's because they've been treated like shit for almost no money for so long, and they don't want to do it anymore. And like people like at a big scale are realizing that life is too short and that they want to spend time with their family and like working on the things they love and not working for the man all the time like we have forever. And like the world's kind of fucking ending right now, right? So
yeah,
time is short, especially short. So I think that's a big part of it. And people, instead of like talking about that and trying to fix those issues, they just demonize other people and say they're lazy. And I don't think that's the truth. Some people are, but I think what we're seeing now ain't that.
I honestly understand. Like I looked at like when the thing last year started, I noticed that there was countries that was really taking care of their citizens. There were citizens that was getting like $2,000 a month.
Canada,
recurred, yeah, in Canada, yeah. And then we got like what, one stimulus?
We got like less than $3,000 altogether.
Yeah, like less than $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got all this money, and y'all don't even want to spend on our residents. But then
most of that money went to like the rich people too. Like all like the stimulus money, most of it didn't even go to us. And like the PPP program, which that's a whole like kind of conspiracy, but honestly it's just fucking true. The PPP program, like, so basically the deal is the government gave you this loan. If you do XYZ, try to hire people, you don't got to pay it back. Well, so what companies are doing right now, and it's a big part of like why you see these help wanted signs everywhere, they all put out these postings and waste people's time, but they're not actually hiring people. Okay, they just have to be looking like they're looking for people, and then they get to keep all that money. And so what does that do? So that buries the legit jobs that are really looking for people in the sea of the bullshit ones. And then people are going on interviews and applications, wasting their time, getting their hopes shot down. And that's causing a lot of our labor shortages. People can't find a job because so many companies are wasting their time right now. And I think that should be looked into, and the government ain't, because they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't.
They sent something out that made it look like they're helping and doing whatever, and people are taking advantage of it as always, or companies are taking advantage of it as always.
Exactly.
This country is just nothing but a monopoly, literally.
And if they cared, they could figure out who was doing that real quick. Really, they can investigate that and figure it out, but they don't care.
No, they don't. They don't. It's too much work for them. They could have groups in it doing it just like they had for our unemployments and stuff.
Yeah, if it's an individual person, they'll look at you under a microscope. But if it's a company, they don't care.
Don't care. Like, you're bringing us money.
All these companies don't even pay taxes anyway. So it's like, why we pay taxes? You know, these companies aren't. So why are you taking such good care of them?
Fucking pricks.
That's why it's like, in a way, like, whatever happens, if like the whole thing falls apart, like, I mean, me personally, I'm prepared. Obviously, I'm a prepper, and I'm trying to get other people on that level. So like the outcome's a little bit better. But like, is the world we got right now so great? You know, is it so great that like it's the end all be all? And like, maybe like, yeah, things get rough with whatever happens, like what's going on right now. But maybe after that, we got the opportunity to make things better. Whereas right now, do we really have so much opportunity? Do we really have hardly any voice or any power at all? I don't think so. So on the big scale, it might be how things are meant to play out.
Yeah. I like they say, the great reset, literally resetting everything. And I've heard, it sucks to say it like this, I heard that the fewer humans that's on the world, the better the world reproduces itself. So like right now we have chemical plants, we have all this gas going in the air, we have so much shit just destroying this world. And I watched this video that said, like, literally, if you destroyed every human, if they just launched every nuke or whatever, and every human was extinct, the world would literally rebirth itself within the next, 200 to 300 years. It would literally rebirth itself, kick out all the gases, kick out everything, because it wouldn't be, all the plants would be gone. There'd be nobody, to destroy the world. So the world would rebuild itself and reproduce, and we would, I'm trying to think of the word. We would pretty much restart from what we said. We would restart from the beginning again. So people would be rebirthed. Life would go on from there.
I don't think it wouldn't be humans, right? It'd be some other surviving animal that
like evolution.
Yeah. So with that, so like, let's say like, just let's even take out like the destroying with nukes, but let's say like all humans just gone, right? You give it enough time, there's already a number of species that are pretty smart, and that they're going to follow a similar path to us. And like, it just depends on which one. They say that like squids are like super smart, and like they would, like, I watched the thing, and it might have been like Life After People or something. It was like 10 years ago on Discovery or something. And they went like way into the future. Like, if that happened, they had like squids that evolved to like come on land, and they were like in trees and stuff, like swinging around on their, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was obviously just a theory, but like it could work. And like, they're really smart and all that. But to my view, and I've never heard anybody ever say this, and it's kind of crazy, I think that kangaroos are one of the highest like likelihood animals to eventually become smart, based on the fact that they walk on their hind legs and they have hands. And they say that when we started doing that, that's when it really ramped things up, because we're able to carry stuff around. We're able to use tools because we're not walking on our hands. And very few animals can do that, but kangaroos can do it very, very well. And like, yeah, they're like marsupials or rodents, but like, they're very closely related to us. I could see that happening. Definitely. That'd be a funny ass movie though. World of the Planet of the Kangaroos. It's like Kangaroo Jack.
Bro, that would be freaking hopping everywhere.
I'm gonna have to write that movie. Get a Kickstarter going.
Planet of the Kangaroos. Hey,
the only question is, do I make it a comedy or do I make it like dead ass? You know, I kind of feel like dead ass would be funnier, like just super like serious.
Can make it like a serious comedy. like serious as some ends, and then throw some Easter eggs in there.
My girl Krista, she's one of my followers. She says plus kangaroos are nurturers. They have the baby pouches. That's a good thing too. Like
yeah.
And they live in groups and stuff, and they're like communal like that. They got all the check marks to get set up to something like that in my mind. Dude, I might have to write a movie or something, like a screenplay or something, get a Kickstarter, because that's a great idea.
That is, man. That's freaking.
We might not have time for all that with the war and stuff, but
maybe we gotta enjoy the time. We gotta enjoy everything while we can.
Absolutely, and if nothing else, it'd be fun for me to write. Nobody ever sees it.
Back to that. What do you think is going to happen post this? Like, what's your theories of what's going on now? I know everyone has their opinion, but do you think there's a way out of this? You think they're bluffing, or do you think that
that's a big question, man? That's a big question for sure.
I know.
Well, first I'll say that nobody has a crystal ball. Like, people act like I get arrogant with some of this stuff, but it's all just like best guess theories. And like, you can admit that nobody has a crystal ball, but then you're still able to make a guess. And honestly, I feel like if you don't like make guesses in your life about what's going to happen, you're not doing it right. Like, you're not figuring things out. So with that being said, keeping in mind that this isn't for sure, it's just my opinion of a maybe. I think that for like our America collapsing, the economy, all that stuff, even regardless of the war, I think we're past the point of no return with that. Do we hold off on the war? Maybe. And that's going to be up to individuals and what they do, as far as like the Russians and the Chinese and the United States. I think especially like if they invade and we don't kick off a war with our response, I think that buys us a lot of time. If we maintain having trade with China, that buys us a lot of time. But short of all that, we might have an issue, and I think that I definitely would say it's like in the 90 percentile that it's going to kick off. I would say that, but I leave room for some kind of saving grace to happen. But ultimately, the war is less likely than just the whole thing, like the whole generality of us falling apart, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Now,
so, I don't know if that answers your question good enough or not, but that's what I can think.
Good. Yeah. You did good. I'm on the same train. Like I said, I had like 2 other TikToks. My first one blew up. I was at 44K, and every video, everybody was there, literally checking out. Oh man. And that was me warning of the buildup. I'm like, man, I ain't gonna lie, guys. I made this because I've seen this going down so far behind. Like I started checking up on it when I was 16, because I heard of the Ukraine and Russia situation. So I looked way back in history of how this started. Started seeing the buildup of how we were building weapons to pretty much counter each other. And then last year I started putting everything together, and I started telling the people, I'm like, man, something's feeling wrong. Like, something's coming soon. And I just have this feeling. And I kept saying it over and over. People like, oh, no, you're crazy. And then the buildup happened earlier this year with the Russian and Ukraine troops. Everybody thought it was going to happen then. And then Russia, pretty much threw a laugh in the face. Like, no, we don't want Ukraine joining NATO. And then after that, all the warnings started coming out. The Pentagon started warning of nuclear war. China threatening to nuke Japan, to bomb Australia, Russia, saying, don't move any more artillery towards our borders. And now that's all we're doing now. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the end game. And then they started warning of a dark winter and all that. So putting everything together on my end, I think something's definitely about to go down.
Yeah, and it's just so sad, man, because like it don't have to be like this.
No, it really don't.
The way we talk to each other, like NATO is just like a response to it was a response to the Soviet Union, but like Russia, I mean, I think they honestly pretend. I think we do a lot of pretending too, but they pretend that they're afraid of NATO, and that's why they do XYZ thing. Like, we're being aggressive towards them, but like, dude, like, just fucking join NATO, like sign a treaty. Like, then there's no fucking way that we're going to invade. First of all, we're not going to invade Russia. So like, they got nothing to be afraid of in that regard.
That's
but
suicide.
Like, just join NATO, or do some kind of treaty where NATO don't even need to exist anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's so many like peaceful options that we could have got to, and like Russia's big enough, I think. You know, now
For
that
real.
they have Crimea and they have that warm water port out of that, which is really what they wanted. I think that it could be Moscow and Germany. I think that it could have been so much better, and I think that people are just like not motivated by peace. I think that the military industrial complex has pumped so much money into all of our politicians, and that's something we can talk about too if you want. But I think that there's just not motivation, especially financially, for peace in a lot of ways, and that's part of the problem.
And our country, another thing people need to realize is our country builds up off of wars. If you notice, anytime we're in a Great Depression or we're in a point where our markets or economy's about to fall down, we start a war. We go right into it. Now, another thing people need to realize is we just left a 20-year war. We just left a war that was going on for a long time. And people thought that this was just for the peace. They're like, oh, yeah, we're going to get out of Afghanistan. We're going to start peace. We're not going to have any more wars. And then our Secretary of Defense come out and say, well, we left Afghanistan and we're going to pull our troops from Iraq to confront Russia and China. I'm like, come on, bro. Are you fucking serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like,
they saw this coming a little bit ago and they started moving out, I think, of that place. But yeah, I mean, going back to like the money in the military industrial complex. So like anyone watching can look this up. If you go to opensecrets.com, you can look who pays what politician during campaign cycles and look up. So these are companies that are in the military industry: Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. Okay, just to name a few. Look up where they spend their money, and when you're on there, make sure you filter by like the company, not like the employees and how they're donating to politics. Literally, Boeing, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. They gave the DNC, the Democrats, 60 grand in 2020. They gave the GOP, the Republicans, 60 grand in 2020. The exact same amount of money, right? What does that tell you? That ain't like your beliefs, like you're supporting somebody because your beliefs. That's literally bribing both sides. And like, if you can go to all these companies, and if you filter it, like I said, so you're just looking at the company, you'll see it's almost exactly the same amount of money all the time with these companies. And that's public information. It's public information. And like the fact that people don't realize that and aren't mad about that just is really upsetting, because that's where a lot of these problems come from.
Man.
And also, you spend 60 grand and you get $1 trillion back, right?
Yeah, literally.
You know, like it's a great deal for them.
I'm like, man, I wish I was in y'all shoes in some ways, bro. Oh man, these guys literally spend money to make money. They are never broke. Well, except now, they're wasting way too much money. They spend trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on nothing this year. And I'm like, wow, man.
All the money the Pentagon's lost.
Yeah.
Dude.
All gone. All gone, man.
Billions of dollars. And then imagine if we spent all this money on something else, too. What we could have. Imagine if 100% of what we spent in the war was put into like space. Like, or something like that, like some kind of technology.
Yeah.
Like, so what we could do, if like with a lot less money than that, is we could tow asteroids into orbit around the planet and then mine those asteroids here close to home, and then use that material already in space, so we don't gotta launch stuff to build new stuff in space. And then like we could do so much cool stuff. And like those asteroids contain the very minerals that we destroy our planet to get, like, you know, rare earth metals like lithium, platinum, like all these things that we just like destroy whole mountains to get, and like whole ecosystems we could just get with no impact on Earth from space. And we could have robots doing that, right? So it's not even people at risk. And then we're just building like habitats and stuff. So like population, we're building colonies on all these other planets so our population can be sustained. Things could have been so much better, but they're not, because we got fucked basically. Now it's too late. Like that money's been spent.
It would have been better if the humans on Earth just united. Of all countries, literally united. Hey, we all on this planet together. Let's figure a way to explore or expand, at least try to expand. Maybe we can make a fucking Mars habitable again. Maybe we can work on Venus. You know, like just expand instead of destroying what we have left here.
And like, why can't it be that way? Like, who really loses in that? Except for a few people that like just want that power. Ultimately, even those people benefit from stuff like that if they just are not short-sighted about it and they just think about the long term. But they just want to be the only ones that have power. They don't want everyone to have a better situation, I think. And it's just so sad. And it's just like, it's very disappointing in our species that that's where we're at. Basically.
Our species sucks, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we got good qualities, sure, but like the way we got things going,
we're doing ourselves. It just feels
dude. And like, if there were aliens and they're like so advanced and they're able to get here and they're looking at us, like, what must they think of us? You know,
like, look at these humans.
Right. Honestly, I think it's more like, and this goes back to the UFOs. I know we kind of got off of that, but like, so these UAPs or UFOs, like they're in the ocean and stuff, and they're just like zipping around, and like they're not super interested in us necessarily, like as people. Like they mess with us a little bit, but like they're interested in like the planet. It seems like they're interested in the ocean, and I feel like to us, or I mean to them, we're basically like how you might see an ant, you know, because they're just so far ahead of us that we're just not that important. Like maybe we're kind of cool, but like maybe a jellyfish is cool to them too. You know, maybe they come from a world that's an ocean, you know? So like, that's another part of it too. Like the aliens might just not give a shit to talk to us. So they're just doing their own thing. We don't know nothing about them. They're flying in, looking at stuff. Cause why? They don't need our permission, you know?
No, really? No, don't.
You're not going to ask an ant's permission to take a walk through by its mold or its anthill, you know? But that's also dangerous. Cause what do people do to ants? You know, what do kids with magnifying glass do? What do, you know, exterminators do? Just another way to look at that stuff.
That'd be scary, man. I wouldn't even want to know what kind of technologies they would have to even try to invade Earth. But it seems like they're more interested in what I think they found. They found something. They found a way to make something out of nothing. So I think like them spaceships that's going over the water and that's sucking all that water up and stuff. I think they learned how to use water to produce energy or something. Like they're collecting our resources that we're not using for the reasons that they're using them for.
And keep in mind too, if there's one, there's all different kinds. So like if we're one example, if we find another example, then there's tons of examples of different life, different technology, with different motivations or whatever. That might be explaining why we see so many different kinds of UAPs and stuff, because there's different players involved, right? But I think you might be right, at least with some of them, and maybe not even with water. They might be able to literally create something from nothing. Like we spoke about the Dyson spheres earlier and why we don't see those. Maybe because they don't need to take energy from a sun. You know, maybe they can just like understand physics way better than us, and they're able just to, you know, make a little. I mean, the Big Bang happened in theory, right? They could just make a little one of those or something, just draw the energy out of that for all we know. And then in which case they could just live in like the space between the stars, and we would never know.
We would never know. Yeah.
We're arrogant with like physics and stuff. We think we got it way more figured it out than we actually do, I think, and that's why we get confused with some of this stuff.
Man, I would. If that's the case, I want to know what they know because they probably. Actually, I want to know. I want to know their beliefs. I want to know what they believe in. Like we have our religions down here. I want to know what the aliens believe in. What's their religion?
Exactly. Like, why are we here? Like, that's a great question to ask them. You know, because honestly, they probably fucking know for sure at this point. Like, they've had enough time. Like, they've figured it out somehow. If they're at that point, I don't know, man. It just blows my mind. And you know, I wish that that we'd have the opportunity in our lives to learn more about that stuff, and we probably never will. But I think that would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that would be. Honestly, that would be some worth checking out.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Any other topics?
Let's see. Oh yeah, I brought this up. So right back here, this is the American nuke facility that they're supposed to be putting in Germany. Now, this is what Russia is talking about with the infrastructure on their border. As you can see, it has a picture of them literally nuking Russia. Now, if they place this in Germany, they'll be able to hit Russia in 6 minutes. It's a game changer because they're putting hypersonic missiles. Now, I posted this a while ago, and I did this because somebody on here just said prove that they're talking about having a nuclear war with Russia or something like that. This was one of the things I proved because they said they're putting this there to aim at Russia, so it would deter them from making any further action. But Russia just said they're just going to put it closer to the United States then at that point. Um, do you believe this war, if it goes out, do you believe it will be nuclear? Do you think it will stay conventional? Or do you think it would be like a couple nukes dropped, kind of like the Japan situation, and then boom, all right, I surrender type deal?
It's so hard to say. I think that a lot of effort would be made on all sides to avoid that and to keep it conventional at first. But that being said, what happens when one side starts to lose? Like I'm sure you know, but Russia has their dead hand program.
Yep.
So if we kick their ass conventionally and nobody's pressing that don't shoot button, then they launch and they destroy us, right? We probably have something like that too, honestly. So either way, unless so the United States, from my understanding, has an unconditional surrender policy in a war like that, like we had in World War II. Which means that we're not going to take some bullshit surrender. Like obviously, like the Middle East, like that wasn't like a war with a country, so it doesn't count for that. But like against another country, it's you surrender unconditionally because we're the big dick daddy from Cincinnati. You know what I mean? And but basically that's our policy. And if it was like that, Russia ain't ever going to do that. China ain't ever going to do that. So where does that leave us in that way? And if we do totally win somehow, which we wouldn't conventionally, then the dead hand comes into play. So it's just like,
and that takes everything.
It's hard to get around it. It's hard to get around it, even as hard as they might try. And I don't know. I think that if anything, maybe they would try to limit it on like actual like nuclear silos and stuff as far as targets, and maybe less so cities. Maybe they could like come to an agreement or something where they're not going to bomb population centers as much. I don't know, because it's like mutually beneficial. But they might like tactically like they might agree to like rules of war where they can use those or something in a weird way. You know what I'm saying? To like protect both of them.
Smart.
Like you can use them on a battlefield or on the Navy or something, but you can't use them on a city. And like if they might both agree to that, because the alternative is total nuclear war. That might be a thing.
All right, now this would be something that I knew. I put this on my. Oh shit! Damn it! Please tell me it's still there. Damn it! Hold on, I have to go back. Give me a second.
There you go.
It was a warning to Americans. Oh, here it is. Here we go. All right, it's back. So, it was this guy in the army he was warned about something that's supposed to be coming. Now, these two Wolf submarines on our west coast went down and collected some secret artillery. Now, this warning was brought out the day that they went and got these. And it literally says, my former colleagues told me that things are taking place in the Western Pacific Ocean, China, that are far more serious than anything the general public is being told. In fact, they said things are so serious that the American public is quite likely to be blindsided by what is coming. Now, down here, they said what is loaded on these submarines, I can't really see because of the thing down here. But you wouldn't want to be an adversary warship at sea from what was loaded on these. So whatever it is, it's a really big deal, maybe even a game changer. So
I got to guess about what it is. So like a submarine obviously can shoot off torpedoes to take down a cruiser or whatever of ours, right? What if they had a stationary torpedo set up at the bottom of the ocean as a defensive thing, where they have torpedoes stationary underwater that maybe they can reload remotely, but like they don't care if that gets taken out. And like it won't have an engine, so it's not moving, which is how we even know submarines are there, with like listening for if they're moving or not, because they're stealthed, right? They're stealthed from our radar, but we can hear their engine noises. And most of them are really quiet now anyways. But if it's stationary, it doesn't have all that. It could be loaded with a ton of torpedoes. You wouldn't have any idea. And just all your ships are sunk if they come in. And they could put those anywhere they want, and they could be relatively hidden, and we wouldn't necessarily find them all. Maybe we found some, and that's what this is coming off of. But I could see something like that for sure. You remember that big explosion in the ocean a few months ago that we saw going around kind of viral?
On Florida?
Maybe. I can't remember exact. So there was like a big like fire, but there was also like at the same time, there was a big fire somewhere like underwater.
Are you
And then
talking
there was
about that?
also like a big explode. There was a test that we did underwater, like a conventional explosion, just randomly. The U.S. like it's not a nuclear, but it was might as well have been. It was so big, and it was a test of a bomb or something. I don't know that we did. It was just a huge like in the ocean. And it was a few months ago, and it was just out of the blue, random, and it was right around the time when the UAP stuff was going on too.
I think we might be talking about the same thing. Are you talking about the explosion that they did on their aircraft carrier or the stealth carrier that they had just
No, it
made?
was underwater. Like nothing on the surface was destroyed. It was just like a bomb test or something. I'd have to look up more, but something like that was really concerning too for all this. Like what the fuck were they actually doing? You know,
Yeah,
like and
bro.
like with the UFPs and stuff, maybe they were fucking on something with them.
What do you think about the ports on the West Coast? Do you think those are actual trade ports, or do you think some of those could actually be? Because China earlier this year they made a lot of their trade ships into warships to invade Taiwan. That was a big thing, and then we have like 97 and more counting of these cargo ships on our West Coast.
There's also some on the East Coast, but think about what I said earlier about the cargo ship and the Scud missiles in the Gulf of Mexico and the EMP.
Yeah.
It only takes one, and like they aren't over there inspecting these on why they're off. They don't inspect stuff till it gets into port, you know. So any single one of those could be a trap, definitely. It just it's very likely, honestly, that one of them is, and like all the stuff that's been going on to some degree, there's definitely a lot of like conspiracy going on. I think with like within China, like the things that China has done, and honestly, like I'm still of the mind that this could be a bioweapon. It really could be, because if you look at China and you look at like the issues that they've had recently, like one of their big issues is that they have a highly aging population, and those people are becoming burdens on the state. They don't have enough young people. They have too many old people. They don't have enough young people to take care of them. So a virus comes out that doesn't necessarily get kids, but it gets old people only, which is weird for viruses. It kind of like helps them solve a problem in a messed up way, you know? And then it's also like not that altogether deadly anyways. So it's not like a world ending for them situation when they let it go. And like they are better at us than gene editing too.
Oh yeah. Big time.
Like they made those HIV resistant children and stuff, and like they are better, and they don't have the same like rules as us. And I could see something like that being the case, and that being like one step, and then like messing up the supply chain for us is another step. Like that could very easily be intentional, like 100%. Like a lot of the problems are starting over there, and like they're just getting backed up here because they got behind there in a weird way. So, and if you study like Chinese like strategy and like who they are as a government, as a people, they're very different. The United States is very short-sighted. We're very reactive, not proactive. And China takes the opposite approach. They're all about long-term planning. I mean, they're a planned economy, for God's sake. Like we don't do that. We just have the free market and stuff. They're all about planning long-term, sitting in wait. They're a sleeping dragon, just culturally.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. All lines up perfectly with what we've been talking about.
It really does, man. And China, man, I tell people do not count China out. A lot of our citizens say China's weak, China's not smart. They're so many years behind. I'm like, come on, bro. Y'all need to do your research on China, bro.
No, they're ahead of us, dude. They're ahead of us. Russia, there's an argument for that for sure. But if they get real buddy with China and they work together, they could fix that.
Oh yeah,
for
easily.
Yeah.
Now, last topic I'll put on this list is right now the world is going through a food shortage. And I'm going to start off with the UK because the UK is the most obvious right now. Now, the UK is their food shortage is so bad that they're putting up these these box on food shelves to make it look full, and then they'll put alcohol.
I've seen those
in front. And I'm like, hold on, what is going on? Now, people don't think that this is coming home, but a lot of times when you go to your local grocery store, there'd be missing aisles of steak or missing aisles of drinks and stuff. Like, what do you think about that? At least on that end of the aspect, do you think this could be coming home? You think this is going to be or you think they're going to find a way to find a way around this, like to still brainwash the people into thinking we're good?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of ways we're already there. I think that people are not that critical thinking when they go around, like they don't realize the things that are being done, like as far as like facing the product, meaning there's like one and then there's not a whole row, but it kind of just looks like it's full, but it's just literally one on the front. And then of course like spreading things out too, so like where your aisle might have had 15 different products before, maybe now it has 3, but just more of them, like the things that they actually do have in stock, they just put more out to make it look full, and they do all these things. But I definitely think that food shortages are going to become more and more a concern here, especially if we do go to war, like guaranteed. And that's why like I have like, I guess it's a little movement I don't talk about all the time, but I'm encouraging everybody to do a victory garden next year. If you remember like from World War II, everybody had to do that to feed themselves, and get started with doing that now. Get your seeds, because those are going to be out of stock and stuff too. And like literally everything. And it's only going to, like into next year, like the availability of everything, not just food, but especially food, is going to be much less. Whether it's zero, maybe not, but is it not enough? Almost definitely. Right. And the pricing, like, people are going to get priced out. Like the rich people can buy what's there. Yeah, it's been happening before even all this started. People couldn't afford enough food, depending on like where they live and stuff and their economy locally. But like, yeah, like it's gonna get real bad. Like, I mean, that's why I'm not gonna have to worry about my food for me and my family, because even if they have it, it's gonna be more expensive. So like the shelf stable food I've bought, I'm saving money than buying it later once this price keeps skyrocketing on this stuff too. But yeah, I think that Europe is gonna see it. We're gonna see it, and then like with the climate disasters too. Canada had a 50% yield in their wheat crop last year, and like this stuff's delayed a little bit from like obviously when stuff gets harvested, but like a lot of our food is rotting right now in warehouses because we can't ship it out, like 100, or they didn't even harvest it, because farming in America is a very low profit business, depending on what you're growing, of course. And the only time it is profitable is because the government subsidizes, like corn farmers, they pay people to grow corn here. So we have that instead of getting it from somewhere else for cheaper. That's right. The thing that was done. But even with that, it's a thin margin. And so as we've seen the price of everything go up, from the supplies that the farms need, which most of which do ultimately come from China, by the way, and those are in shortage, to the transportation, to the fuel for the tractors and stuff, to the tractors themselves, the combines and all that. But the transportation especially, it's 3 to 5 times the price it used to be. And if you factor that in to the thin profit margin that these farms have, it doesn't make once that happened, it didn't make financial sense for them to harvest, because then they're spending that money to harvest when they're already going to take a loss on the yield, right? So for a lot of people, right, I think it made more sense to just let it rot in the field, let it refertilize the field, and then hopefully start again later. But it just wasn't profitable to do. And when that starts happening, and it's going to keep happening and be worse next season, people aren't even going to plant in a lot of places, and people are having economic issues. People are losing. But people are losing their farms. So there's no doubt in my mind that this next year going forward is going to be worse for food availability and price. And however bad that gets, it might be real bad. It might be just a little bit worse, but probably way worse than it is. I know that was a kind of a long explanation, but it's a complicated kind of subject.
No, that is a real hard topic. My job, I work at Gyro, and they were telling me, they were like, dude, I'll be surprised if half these restaurants make it next year. He said the food prices are going up so high, and a lot of restaurants can't afford to move their prices up so high, because customers won't even come to their restaurant. They're not there to buy expensive ass food. They're there to buy cheap food. So they're like, a lot of these businesses are about to go out, and it seems like Walmart's and Amazon's, they're the ones trying to take over the small businesses right now. They're taking over all the small businesses, and we will all have to rely on them eventually. But they're like, yeah, next year food is going to be so high that people are going to freak. People are already starting to freak out. They can't afford food, gas, electric, like anything anymore. Like everything's just.
And remember, desperate people do desperate things.
Yep. When
your kid's starving, how far are you going to go? Okay. And, that's going to be other people, no matter what happens, are always going to end up ultimately being the number one threat to you is other people. Like nothing like environmental or nothing like that. It's other people, because people get desperate and they come for you, unfortunately.
Yep.
And that's a point I like to make too with this stuff. Like a lot of people, like within like my niche, like the prepping stuff, the prepper community, they get cocky, like especially like a lot of vets and stuff. They get real cocky about like the Second Amendment. And there's like they think of it like they're going to defend their home like they do now against a burglar. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's not. We're talking like, look at the migrant caravans. Like, look at the numbers now, and like those are still countries they're coming from. They might be kind of crappy, but like they're still countries with governments and military and police and stuff. Like it's still like a society. But if our society falls apart, we're talking about people in cities got 3 days worth of food before they got to leave. Like the city's completely depleted, so they got to leave. So where are they going? They're going to the suburbs. They're going to get thinned out there for sure, but then they're going to the country where all these cocky people live, right? And that they think that they're going to defend with their whatever they got. I don't care what Second Amendment stuff you got or how many. If you got 30 guys with those, you're not going to be taking on 10,000 people who used to be a million people. Then they got weaned down to the most ruthless, best armed, most strategic people who went like house to house all the way to the country. So they're practiced. They know exactly what they're doing. But the guy in the country who's cocky, trying to defend their stuff, this is their first rodeo. Okay, with actually this kind of home defense against these groups. And there's no defense against 10,000 people.
No,
There's
heck no.
none. The only defense is to
no.
hide. And that's why I have my bunker and stuff. And like, you can make your own little hidden area for all your stuff where you can just let them pass on by. That's the only way to do it in my mind. Anything. And like, if you get found in there, yeah, like you defend yourself and stuff if you can, but like all out attack, that's going to get you like, hit with, I can't say that word, but like fire things, to like burn you out. And like, if I'm hiding, nobody's trying to burn me out because they don't know. But if you give them a reason to think you're hiding something or you're defending something, they're going to get it.
Oh, they're going to go. They're going to get it.
And people are cocky, and a lot of those people are going to pass away in that situation, unfortunately, because their own cockiness. So I try to make sure to remind people of that, so people can have the right mindset with how to protect yourself against other people. But then also just ethically, like if you don't have to, kill another person, probably shouldn't. And like these groups of like they basically be refugees or whatever you want to call them. Like there's going to be children in these groups too, like the parents with their kids traveling, and like, are you going to open up on them too? Right. And then just in a fruitless endeavor where you're going to get overwhelmed anyways, are you going to do that? And like your last act to do something like that? I won't, and I don't think anybody should.
I try to bring that up. That's where I go with the blackout thing. I'm like, man, people don't realize, like, you won't know your survival skills into a true blackout situation where you're forced to live out on the streets, forced to grow your own stuff. You can't trust none of your friends or neighbors or family because everyone's turning against each other. Everyone's starving. Everyone needs food and medical stuff. And, there's a lot of diabetics and everything. Like, it's going to be desperate. People are not going to give a shit. And so, I mean, and I told people, I'm like, man, I love you guys, but eventually, if that happens, you got to survive, man. You got to do what you have to do. I mean, you gotta know your shit. You gotta learn some survival tips. And at that point, man, you gotta learn how to be heartless in some ways, because people are going to try to trick you. People are going to try to send, like you said, kids and stuff to try to for school. There's a lot of smart veterans out there that knows how to use a gun and a sniper and get their way through a field. So like,
yeah, dude. Even an average hunter, like as soon as you in that situation, as soon as you walk out your front door, there could be somebody waiting outside of your view in the tree line or whatever, and just lights out for you. And you have no ability to defend yourself unless you know they're there. And if you don't know, and so people also get cocky, like, oh, well, I know how to hunt deer, so I'm going to be fine. But like, dude, first of all the deer are going to get got because everybody's starving. Second of all, going out to do that's going to get you got. And it's just like, if you can afford it now, buy canned food or buy XYZ other thing, buy flour and like stock up so you can just stay in your house, stay hidden. Cause like the chaos is temporary, really. Like the population dies off, new little, I guess, power structures spring up, like some level of order where you can actually, because everybody needs like some order eventually so people can actually farm safely. And you'll have that eventually. But that there's a chaos before that you got to just ride out, in my opinion.
And that's once that chaos goes, yeah, people form groups. People try to vote their own leader in. Okay, well, you can lead us. What are we supposed to do, or something like that? Something's going to happen on those lines. But it just
Exactly.
depends on how long the desperate people stick around.
But yeah, dude, my battery's about to die, so we should probably wrap this up here. At least my
All
part
right.
of it, anyways, right? So it was really fun, dude.
Yeah, this
If you
was fun,
do
man.
end up getting like the live replay or something, like I know, like most of the times, like mine gets messed up and it doesn't save it. But if it does, let me know. Maybe if you can get it to me, I might take a couple clips out of some of the stuff we talked about.
Okay.
But message me or something if you do. But otherwise, man, I really appreciate you having me on, and it's been a really good conversation.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for coming through, bro.
All right, buddy. You have a good one, man. Keep up the good work.
You too, man. See you
Thanks.
around. All right. Well, that was a great conversation, guys. I was not expecting that. I'm glad he came through and we were able to talk that out. A lot of stuff in there. A lot of stuff I talked about today, man. I'm going to try to do more fun lives like this and get other people's aspects because I like to see how other people think about this. And I love to see other people bringing the message out. Like, it's insane how this is going these days. But I'm going to post a couple more videos. I'm going to get off of here and look up and see if there's some more news that I need to be worried about that I could post on here. I might go live later tonight to talk to you guys. Right now, my brain is fried. I just had a long ass conversation. So, what's going on with Russia? The last thing that I've heard is that Canada backed out. Canada backed out of the troops to be sent over to Ukraine. Now it's only the U.S. and U.K. and NATO and not Turkey, because Turkey's in NATO. So not Turkey, not France, not Germany, not Canada. They are not going to be in this unless, shots are fired. But I'm about to get off of here, and hopefully I'll connect with you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Love you guys, and I will see you soon.